If you've ever wanted to attend the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. If somehow you are going, it's tomorrow. Let us know how it is. I've always wanted to attend one of those. Looks like a lot of fun, and looks like that's where the elite trader class is, or at least that's what it seems. Maybe investor class, maybe not trader class, maybe investor class. Nonetheless, welcome back, folks. We close out a very, very busy week here today. We had Apple earnings last night. We had SanDisk earnings last night. Apple does it again, folks. Apple absolutely does it again. We're going to break that down. SanDisk is pulling back here. We are set to open up at a new all-time high as well. So exciting stuff going on. We're going to break all of it down for you. Got some news. We got some trades. We've got Mark Putrino coming on. We're going to have Anne Marie coming on. And it's Friday, so you already know what the requirement is. Fun. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for May 1st, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Thursday. I know if you're an Apple holder, you're probably smiling here today. And indeed, Apple reports earnings, beats, and trades higher, and the outlook is strong. We're going to cover all of that. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here to wrap out a very busy week on a Friday. We start with Derek, who is first here today. Derek, you've been here early a lot today. Good morning, buddy. Early bird gets the worm. Peter, good morning. TGIF big time today. Brother, you are not the only one that feels that way. Let me tell you. TGIF indeed. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. Ryan, you better bow to the British King for managing to reduce your future Scotch collection expenses. Zach, are you kidding me? I bow to no king. The European mind can't even comprehend that. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Happy Friday. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Tom, good morning. Welcome back. Good morning, Ryan. You had mentioned that you drink Peet's coffee. I've heard a lot about that brand. Any recommendations? Looking to change my coffee. Yeah, try it out. I'm a big fan of dark, flavorful coffee. I don't put milk or sugar or any of that nonsense in it. So my favorite would be the French roast, which is really good. My absolute favorite coffee from Peet's is Major Dickinson's blend. I've loved it since the moment I've tried it. They started in Berkeley. They've gone mainstream. They're superior to Starbucks in every possible way. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Acorns, good morning. Welcome back. Acorn saying Roblox is a significant gap down. Yeah, they got absolutely pounded on earnings, down like 25% the last I checked here. Worth watching for a dead cat bounce or a continuation. Indeed. And I can actually set up what to look for that Roblox trade here. If you put a gun to my head and you made me pick one or the other, I would think that this thing's going lower. They got all types of problem. All that company does is lose money, and they got a problem with, kitty harassment on the game. It's just it's no good. It's no good, and it's having a tough day here today. I don't know which direction it's going to go though, so we'll keep it on watch for either direction. Whisk, good morning, welcome back. Cad Monkey, good morning, welcome back. Q, that is definitely going to be in the movers. What a huge move that was. That was not on my radar at all, but nonetheless. Bernhard, good morning. CoinFox, great to see you again. Welcome back. Good morning. Akonda Williams, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, appreciate everything that you do, boss. Welcome back. Cam, another week flown by. Good morning indeed. Look, this is what happens when you're into the stock market. These weekdays, they go by, even if they're busy. You just feel it at the end of the week. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. Michael, good morning. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. Yeah, Tyler, how about those Knicks? You happy about that? I bet you are. How about Minnesota? What a night for Minnesota. The Wild knock out the Stars and the Timberwolves knock out the Nuggets. Woo! Minnesotans are happy today. Astro Kev, good morning. Welcome back. Houston, we are ready for takeoff. Launch is a go. Indeed it is. Jeff, good to see you. Sunny in Naperville. It's sunny here too, although it's a little bit cool. It is supposed to warm up for the weekend, so optimistic about that. My golf round should be in good shape. Durkus, good morning. Welcome back. Robot to Trade, good morning. Welcome back. Jay Bell, good morning. Welcome back. Who else am I missing here? Jay, good morning. Welcome back. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Welcome back. Unpopular Truth, good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, the producer says I had to do a double take. I actually had that on. I flipped away to the hockey game. I came back and it was like a 30-point lead. And I'm like, what on earth is going on here? And then at halftime, it was 50. Oh, and they won by 51. You couldn't even bet the Hawks plus 50.5 and cash it. It's just what a nightmare for the Hawks and their fans. I'm sorry to anyone out there. Liam, good morning. Big Hurt, good morning. Welcome back. Dennis, good morning. Welcome back. Gen Z Pool Guy, good morning. Welcome back. Kenzo and Austin, good morning. Lion Atlas, good morning. Llewellyn, good morning. Forsman, it's great to see you, man. Welcome back. Kelly, likewise, good morning. Welcome back. AC, good morning. Welcome back. Brandy, good morning. It's good to see you as always. Unpopular Truth says it's sunny in Lombard. Okay. Do you know about the wild parakeets that live in Lombard, by the way? It's absolutely crazy. Like a flock of wild parakeets live around like a power station in Lombard. I don't know how they got there. Maybe an escaped pet, but they basically made their nests next to some of the power equipment that keeps them warm. It's a hugely fascinating story. Google it. It's for anyone that likes birds. It's a wild read. Me every time. Good morning. Welcome back. Jeff, good morning. Welcome back. And Big Hurt, it's always good to see you. Welcome back. Parvez, good morning from New York. We got people all over the place, and I am here for it. Good morning. Deep Tech, good morning. Welcome back. And all right, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, we've got mixed futures ahead of Friday's open here, although they all look fairly constructive if you look at the intraday chart. S&P futures up 0.2% to the upside. Dow futures up 0.27%. That's likely being helped out by the Apple earnings from last night. And the NASDAQ down 0.13%. But the NASDAQ is coming up off of its lows. And, we did have some of those tech names like SanDisk report earnings, so perhaps that's impacting it. But it actually looks fairly constructive. One other thing to keep in mind here today is May 1st. So we are expecting inflows into the market. We'll see what kind of volume that gives us. That kind of felt like maybe we had end of the month window dressing yesterday. We'll see if we get any follow through here on that today. Let's take a look at some cues from last session, shall we? Let me get the story up here. Utilities, communication services, and industrial stocks recorded the biggest gains on Thursday as most sectors. And the S&P closed on a positive note. However, information technology stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session lower. Meanwhile, the Trump administration leveraged the 3-week-old ceasefire to avoid a congressional 60-day deadline under the War Powers Resolution to withdraw troops from Iran. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.39%, came in a little bit from yesterday, and the 2-year bond was at 3.89%. The CME Group's FedWatch tool projections show the market's pricing in a 94.8% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during June's meeting. Remember, we don't have one in May. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today. And yep, you guessed it. The first one is Big Mama. It is Apple, ticker AAPL, and that was up 3.11% in the pre-market on Friday after reporting better than expected results for its second quarter and issuing strong June quarter guidance. And remember, Apple doesn't really give guidance, but they chose to do it this time. Apple saw Q2 EPS of 201, which beat the 194 estimate. And they had sales of 111.18 billion, which beat the 109.66 billion estimate. Per the conference call, Apple sees Q3 sales of 107.2 billion to 110.02 billion. That is versus an estimate of 102.9 billion. So that guide went higher there on Apple. The next stock on our list is going to be Twilio, and the ticker is TWLO, and it jumped over 20% after reporting better than expected first quarter financial results and issuing second quarter guidance above estimates. Also, the company raised its fiscal year 26 sales guidance above estimates. Twilio put up a Q1 adjusted EPS of 150, which beat the 127 estimate. Sales of $1.406 billion beat the estimate of $1.342 billion. And Twilio sees Q2 adjusted EPS of $2.50 to $2.60 versus a $1.29 estimate. Big raise there. They see sales of $1.42 to $1.43 billion. That's versus an estimate of $1.39 billion. Twilio also raises fiscal year 2026 sales guidance from $5.65 billion to $5.7 billion, or that range, the 5.65 to 5.7. They raised that to 5.78 to 5.83. And again, that was versus an estimate of 5.69 billion. Now, the next stock on our list is Roblox, and it's a little bit different story with this one. Roblox, which is ticker RBLX, dropped 22.1% and actually traded lower here this morning, despite posting despite posting upbeat first quarter results after Thursday's closing bell. Now, it lowered its revenue outlook to below analyst estimates. That's what hit it. The company cut its fiscal 2026 revenue outlook to a range of $7.33 billion to $7.6 billion, versus the analyst estimate of $8.13 billion. Roblox Q1 EPS was a 35-cent loss. That was better than the 39-cent loss expected, but still a loss. Sales came in at $1.73 billion, which beat the estimate of $1.71 billion. Maybe we get a dead cat bounce here today, but that guide is no bueno, as they say. The next stock on our list is Atlassian, and the ticker on this one is TEAM, and it soared 24.2%. Oh, come on, Paige. This is ridiculous. It soared 24.26% as it reported earnings of $175 per share. Now that blew past the consensus of 132, and in fact, it beat it by 32.58%. Quarterly revenue clocked in at $1.79 billion, which beat the consensus of $1.69 billion, and was up from $1.36 billion in the same period last year. The final stock on our list is one of Lion's favorites. This is Eli Lilly, and the ticker is LLY. It was 0.58% higher as its revenue skyrocketed 56% year over year to $19.8 billion during its first quarter of 2026. This was driven primarily by the astronomical volume demand for its metabolic and weight management medications, those GLP-1s. Eli Lilly put up Q1 adjusted EPS of $8.55. That beat the $6.66 estimate, big beat there. Sales of $19.799 billion beat the estimate of $17.61 billion. Oh my God, it reminds me of The Fugitive. This company is a monster. Eli Lilly raises its fiscal year 2026 adjusted EPS guide from 33.5 to 35. They raised that range to 35.5 to 37, so above the high end of it. The estimate was 34.55. They also raised their fiscal year 2026 sales guidance range from $80 billion to $83 billion up to $82 to $85 billion. The estimate, $82.10 billion. Let's take a look at our SPY chart. As mentioned, we are set to open up at new all-time highs here today. Sure looks like this market is breaking out or trying to. Now, it has been doing this on low volume. That's absolutely something to consider. We had this discussion at length last night, and the consensus amongst pretty much everybody, bulls, bears, and alike, is that there's caution in the market where there's a lot of stuff going on. We're not really sure how it's going to end or when it's going to end, frankly. And that just makes this participation not all that great. Now, we'll see if we pull back at all. We'll see if we reach a certain level and then pull back here. But so far here, and actually just looking at this right now, futures are spiking. Perhaps we got a note. Producer, help me out if you see any news out there. Look at this. S&P trading out of its sideways range here. We went up to a high of 721.99 on the SPY here. S&P futures now up 0.32%. Those NASDAQ futures have gone red to green just now. So SPY looks like it's going to try and trade up here. As I mentioned, this is the first of the month, so we should be expecting inflows here today. We'll see if anyone sells this market as we get closer to the weekend. Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here, and then we'll continue to roll through the news. Actually, before I do this real quick, let me just check and see if there was something that broke here. I don't see it. Maybe it's those ExxonMobil earnings. I do see oil ticking down a little bit. Here we go. Iran delivered on Thursday to the U.S. through Pakistani mediators its response to the latest U.S. amendments to the agreement to end the war. So it sent a proposal back. That's not even official. That's just, we'll see. We'll see how it goes here. But market did pop on that. So we'll let that play out here a little bit. All right, let's get back down to these insights from analysts. In recent market commentary, Brian Reeling analyzes the potential economic impact of Kevin Warsh, President Trump's pick for the new Federal Reserve chair. Reeling predicts a measured transition, stating, quote, "We expect any shift in Fed policy under the new chair to be gradual," end quote. And we actually kind of heard something like this from Powell. Powell gave Warsh a full endorsement, said he would do a good job here on this. Doesn't think that it's necessarily going to upend anything. I always thought that commentary was silly. We'll see how this all shakes out here. But if Warsh successfully implemented his vision, Reeling anticipates dual economic maneuvers. Quote, "The Fed could slowly lower short-term interest rates while also shrinking its balance sheet," end quote. This approach could ultimately put upward pressure on long-term interest rates over time. Additionally, Warsh has signaled a desire to cut rates, particularly if artificial intelligence boosts productivity and helps keep inflation in check. And we'll see if that ends up shaking out. For investments, Reeling warns of potential turbulence as the market adjusts. He cautions that, quote, "bond prices, especially for longer maturity bonds, may be more volatile as markets adjust to a smaller Federal Reserve footprint and less support from Fed bond holdings," end quote. Despite these warnings, he reassured investors that, quote, "we do not expect these changes to happen all at once," end quote. And I think the big takeaway there is that even if we do get new stuff here, it should be plenty of time for the market to react. We should not necessarily be caught off guard. And I think that the market is fairly comforted by that feeling. And we'll see if it shakes out. But that's what it feels like to me here. All right. Let's talk about Apple. All right, Big Mama, let's see how that's doing here today. That is 282 high, 282 and change here. Stock closed at 271 yesterday, so Apple having a great day here. Dan Ives says Apple's in a golden era, end quote, and is near, the golden era is near, excuse me. Gene Munster sees 10% upside, and Daniel Newman calls the outlook ripe. Remember, this comes on the back of incoming CEO John Ternus telling us that Apple is getting ready to change the world. You know, they haven't been burdened by this huge CapEx spend for AI. We'll see if that changes going forward here or what they do on the AI front. On Thursday, Apple shares drew mixed investor reaction after the company posted stronger than expected fiscal second quarter results and issued upbeat forward guidance. Wall Street analysts argue that the market is underappreciating the outlook. Apple reported revenue growth of about 17% for the quarter, surpassing expectations, with solid performance in services, Mac and iPad segments, and gross margins also came in above estimates at 49.3%, which is signaling strong profitability despite rising component costs. However, iPhone revenues slightly missed forecasts, and Apple flagged ongoing global memory chip shortages as a key constraint on supply. Looking ahead, Apple said it expects the June quarter revenue to rise between 14 and 17% year over year, describing the forecast as its, quote, best view of constrained supply, end quote. The company also noted that tariff assumptions and macroeconomic conditions remain unchanged in its outlook. Deepwater Asset Management's Gene Munster argued the stock reaction was too muted. And I'm sorry, I haven't scrolled down here. Argued that the stock reaction was too muted given the strength of the guidance. Quote, "Apple up 4% does not reflect how good the guide was," end quote. And again, that came from Gene Munster. He went on to say, quote, "In a vacuum, I would have expected the stock to be up closer to 10%. He added that while near-term growth may normalize, Apple is laying the foundation for its next major growth phase over the coming years. CEO is telling us that too. Meanwhile, Futurum Group CEO Daniel Newman praised the results and outlook, calling the guidance, quote, "as ripe as they come," end quote. He also said concerns around memory-driven margin pressure appear to be less severe than feared and highlighted the company's overall strong execution. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives took to X and said Apple's strong June quarter iPhone growth outlook, solid services performance, and emerging AI strategy are setting the stage for a potential golden era. He added that the leadership transition from Tim Cook to John Ternus is also coming into focus, while maintaining a $350 price target ahead of June's Worldwide Developer Conference, or WWDC. So let me know what you think on Apple. We got the earnings out of the way here. What do you think? Are you, if you don't already own it, which I feel like everybody already owns this stock, to be quite honest with you. I know I do. My family does. What do you think of Apple as a trade here? Do you like it to set some new highs? We got a new price target of $330 here this morning. I think that was from Morgan Stanley. Obviously, Dan Ives here, $350 price target there from Wedbush. Let me know what you think here on Apple. Doso here saying, historically, Apple has not done great during earnings. And, it's up what? Just over 3%, just shy of 5% here. Pretty good report, not that huge pop, but really what happens from this point forward, I think is the question. We'll see how Apple performs. But it did it again. It beat yet again. All right, next story here is on SanDisk, and I know this has been a humongous stock for our group here. They reported earnings. Let me actually see how they're doing here today. I haven't checked since early this morning. Okay, so SanDisk is actually up off the lows from the after-hour session yesterday, trading down here at 1,043. This thing closed at 1,096.5 yesterday, so we're still down 50 points, but we are up off the lows, so take that with a grain of salt. SanDisk Corporation, again, ticker SNDK, on Thursday laid out a plan to lean harder on multi-year customer supply deals after posting better than expected fiscal third quarter 2026 results. In the earnings call, CEO David Goeckeler, I think it's actually Goeckeler, he said that the memory chip maker has signed a five-year long-term supply agreements, referred to as the new business models, or NBMs, with 3 signed in the fiscal third quarter and 2 more added early in the fiscal fourth quarter. The agreements, tailored to customer needs, vary in duration, with the longest extending up to 5 years. Chief Financial Officer Luis Felipe Visoso said the third quarter agreements imply, quote, minimum contractual revenue of approximately $42 billion, end quote. And it added that the 5 deals together carry financial guarantees of over $11 billion. The projections include prepayments and other tools arranged through outside financial institutions, and Visoso said $0.4 billion of prepayments appeared in the third quarter balance sheet. SanDisk said the 5 agreements cover more than 1/3 of the company's bit volume expected in fiscal 2027. Goeckeler told analysts that he expects this share to climb and definitely could move past 50% over time. The strategic shift towards multi-year contracts align with improving conditions in the NAND market, as highlighted by Wedbush analyst Matt Bryson, who recently noted that SanDisk has been, quote, successful in lifting prices at a faster rate than the broader industry, end quote. Bryson set a price target of $1,200 for SanDisk, reflecting strong execution relative to peers and expectations for a 65% pricing increase this quarter, up from earlier guidance of 55%. SanDisk reported strong third quarter results with revenue surging to $5.95 billion. This significantly surpassed the analyst consensus estimate of $4.68 billion. The company's adjusted earnings per share of $23.41 exceeded expectations by a whopping 62.23%, fueled in part by a remarkable 233% increase in data center sales. The company anticipates adjusted earnings per share for the fourth quarter to range between 30 and 33, which is significantly above the estimate of 22.01, indicating strong expectations for continued growth. So I understand SanDisk is trading down here today. The question that I have for our group is, where do we buy this? What is the buy level for SanDisk? Because if you listen to that earnings report, it sounds like, hey, nothing's going to change. It's going to be business as usual. The demand is insane. We're working to make sure that we can fulfill all of our contract. I mean, it's just, it massive beats. They're telling you it's not going anywhere. The Apple earnings telling you that their biggest product, their phone, is constrained by the memory chips. I mean, where's the buy spot for SanDisk? That's what I want to know for the group. Perhaps we'll ask Mark Putrino that, but I'd be curious to get the group's reaction to that as well. In fact, we are 5 minutes to mark. I'm going a little slow on the news here. I am sorry, folks. Let's keep rolling here. Eli Lilly next year. This one's for you, Lion. Hopefully you're still out there and not down the dial. Eli Lilly capitalizes on consumers' love affair with weight loss drugs. Gary Black says the valuation still looks compelling. So now we're getting a comment here on valuation and it not being extended. Interesting. Blockbuster sales of the flagship GLP-1 treatments have propelled Eli Lilly and Company, ticker LLY, their first quarter earnings, prompting a prominent Wall Street analyst to defend the stock's valuation and highlight disruptive potential of its new oral weight loss drug, the pill. Eli Lilly's revenue skyrocketed 56% year over year to $19.8 billion during its first quarter of 2026, driven primarily by astronomical volume demand for its metabolic and weight management medications. Following the earnings release, Gary Black, managing partner of the Futures Fund, noted on X that Eli Lilly continues to heavily capitalize on consumers' ongoing love affair with the GLP-1 drugs. The financial results reflect this devotion. Worldwide revenue for the diabetes drug Mounjaro surged over 120% year over year to $8.7 billion, while the obesity treatment Zepbound brought in nearly $4.2 billion, an 80% year-over-year increase. Fueled by strong underlying performance, Eli Lilly confidently raised its full-year 2026 revenue guidance by $2 billion, now projecting a range between $80 and $85 billion. However, the company's growth narrative isn't resting solely on its current blockbuster lineup. Black highlighted the recent U.S. FDA's approval of Foundayo, Eli Lilly's new once-daily oral weight loss pill. Scroll down here a little bit. Priced aggressively at $149 per month, Black suggested that the highly scalable pill could be its biggest drug yet, end quote, as it removes the food and water restrictions associated with existing oral options and widely expands the accessible market. Prior to the earnings report, some analysts had begun questioning Eli Lilly's ability to maintain its rapid expansion among failing realized drug prices, amid falling realized drug prices and rising political pressure to limit drug costs. Yet the first quarter earnings blowout has forcefully shifted the narrative back in the company's favor. Despite the recent market volatility, Black maintains a highly optimistic outlook on the stock's future. Factoring in a 2026 price-to-earnings ratio of 27 times, alongside a projected 15% long-term revenue growth and 20% long-term earnings per share growth, Black firmly concluded that Eli Lilly's valuation, quote, still looks compelling, end quote. So Eli Lilly, this company's been an absolute monster. It continues to outperform. There was a lot of talk about how the GLP-1s were going to take the next leg up when they move from injectable to pill form. We'll see if the results are that good and if people keep taking it. But good Lord, this company is like the reference to Devlin McGregor in the movie The Fugitive. This company is a monster, just an absolute monster. Okay, one more very quick story that I want to get to you before we go to Mark here. Well, we're 1 minute until we're supposed to bring him on. This is because this is a new IPO today. I know you folks often trade some of these IPOs, and I know some of them have been hot. This one is Seaport Therapeutics. Kathy, not to put you on the spot here, but is this one that you've been tracking at all? Do you know anything about this one? I'd love to get your opinion if you have one. If you don't, no worries. It was a long shot. Seaport Therapeutics has set its initial public offering terms on Thursday, detailing the deal in a pricing of its upsized IPO that values shares at $18 each. In fact, I believe it's supposed to open between 18 and 20 here today, but we'll see where it actually opens. The clinical stage biotech firm said the IPO covers 14.16 million shares. That's still low float, with all shares being offered by the company. Seaport said the $18 price is at the high end of the expected range and implies gross proceeds of about $254.9 million before underwriting fees and other offering costs. The company also provided underwriters a 30-day window to purchase up to 2,124,000 additional shares at the IPO price, minus discounts and commissions. The company said its shares are slated to start trading on the NASDAQ Global Select Market on Friday under the symbol SPTX, Sierra Papa Tango X-Ray. Seaport also expects the transaction to settle on Monday, May 4th, assuming customers' closing requirements are met. Seaport describes itself as focused on creating and advancing treatments aimed at neuropsychotic conditions. The company is also based in Boston. The size of the raise gives Seaport fresh capital as it advances studies in a category where trials can be expensive and timelines are long. For investors, the pricing provides another data point into how the market is valuing early-stage neuropsychiatry pipelines. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Leerink Partners are serving as the underwriters on this transaction. The development comes amid a growing IPO market. X Energy, ticker XE, made its public market debut on April 24th. The shares of XE opened at $30, which was a 31% increase from its IPO price of $23. The strong performance followed X Energy's upsized offering that raised approximately $1.02 billion. Also, Avex Corporation, or ticker AVEX, which raised $320 million by selling 16 million shares at $20 each, surged 35% on its NICE debut on April 17th. The overwhelming demand for Avex's offering, reportedly oversubscribed multiple times, reflects a significant shift towards investment in companies that support military capabilities. SoftBank is also positioning itself for significant market moves, planning a 2026 IPO for its new venture, Rose AI, which aims to integrate autonomous robotics and data center construction. The company targets a valuation of up to $100 billion and has engaged KPMG to prepare the financials necessary for the public offering. So SPTX, Seaport Therapeutics. Let me know if any of you folks are looking to trade this, and if you do trade it, good luck. We'll see when that ends up opening. All right, folks, it is Friday, and you know what that means. That means it's time for Mark Putrino. Let's bring him on and see how he's doing and see what golf tips he has for us. Mark, good morning. How you doing here today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It is a Friday. It has been a long week. Lots of earnings, a Fed decision that really didn't do much. Lots going on, buddy, but I'm ready for the weekend. Got my golf round ready on Sunday. We're ready to go here.
Sweet. Hey, is that a real window behind you, or is that just like an image?
Yeah, I wish that it was. This is a green screen, and that is Detroit in the background.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, things look a little different.
Yeah, when I get my high rise, I'll let you know. You can come visit. We'll go out to dinner and stuff. But in the meantime, we're going to green screen it up, buddy.
Nice. Yeah, so it's pretty, these markets are pretty impressive, I got to tell you. And when the market climbs a wall of worry, I assume you guys can all see my chart now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, when I first came to Wall Street a long time ago, I don't want to date myself, but after I got out of college, I remember this broker told me the market climbs a wall of worry. And I didn't really know what he meant, but I do now. You know, this is one of these old Wall Street expressions that is based in truth. As long as people are still worried, there is money on the sidelines. All right. It's when people start getting euphoric and really bullish, that's when you need to be concerned, because the market runs out of buyers. Now, let's just really sit back and think about this. Think about how much the market has changed in the last, say, month. Okay. Here we are in the end of March, and everyone is freaking out because no one knows what the heck is going on in Iran. Here we are at all-time highs. And what's really changed? I mean, from my point of view, or from where I'm sitting, it just seems like the same thing. It's still confusing. No one really knows what's going on. There's all these mixed messages, but yet here we are at all-time highs.
Mark, the only thing that I would push back and answer is that the difference between then and now is a slew of corporate earnings that have been good.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Otherwise, you're absolutely right. Everything else is the same. There's back and forth with the whole Iran thing. Nothing's official. That's it. That's all I can come up with.
Yeah, and But yeah, it just shows you that, the way the psychology can just turn on a dime. Like right here. I mean, I don't remember what was going on, but here it was like, oh, I got to buy. It's markets and stocks are the greatest thing since sliced bread. But 3 days later, we just completely sold off. So if this move was justified by fundamentals, why would it give it all back so quickly? And this is just like that psychological thing of the buyers and the sellers shifting back and forth. But one of the things I was looking for this week was the sentiment survey that I look at, because I was thinking last week, all right, we had a pretty big jump in bullish sentiment. Now, that's not an extreme number, 46%. Extreme numbers of bullishness would be like maybe 60, 65%. In the internet bubble, there was a time where it was 75% and only 10% were bearish. Now, this is what we call a contrarian indicator. If people, like I said before, if people are exuberant and bullish, everyone buys, and the market eventually runs out of buyers. So I was thinking, if this came out this week, I was kind of anticipating a higher bullish number, which would have been, to me, a bearish sign for the market. In other words, if this week bullishness was 55%,
Yeah.
and bearishness had dropped to 25%, to me, that would have said, all right, we got to start thinking about a sell-off here. But actually, the number shifted back the other way, which I think is healthy for the market. And if we look at it, right, this is something interesting to think about here. Like, you might look at the RSI indicator and it's above 70. And the way that's typically interpreted is that's the stock is overbought, or in this case, the market or the ETF is overbought. But sometimes these things can give misleading signals if you don't understand how they're calculated. So this calculates from time period A to time period B. The default setting is 14 time periods.
Mhm.
So the RSI doesn't realize that we basically went sideways for 5 days here before we had this move higher yesterday. It just thinks we went in a straight line from like wherever 14 time periods ago is to here. So this is what like a healthy market looks like. It goes up nice and slow, and and it doesn't get overbought. Same thing with tech, right? Like tech was really tech was really getting overbought, and I was kind of anticipating a little bit of sell-off in tech. And, instead of a sell-off, we kind of just went sideways. So I would say that this isn't overbought either. And this is trading basically at all-time highs. The financial sector was kind of not doing much, and it had a pretty strong move yesterday. So this is something to keep an eye on over today and maybe Monday or Tuesday. If the financials can get back above, this is the XLF, the financial ETF.
Yep.
If they can get back above this important price level here, around 52.65, see, it was support, it became resistance. Very common thing in markets. Support becomes resistance. And this is a result of psychology. Okay. It's a result of buyer's remorse. People who buy here at first thought that they made a great move when the price went higher, but when the support broke, a lot of them say to themselves, I shouldn't have bought. They get buyer remorse and they say, all right, well, I'll hold on to my losing position, but if I can ever get out of this thing at break even, then I will. So we get back to the level that had been some more support, and remorseful buyers placing sell orders converted the level from support to resistance. Anyway, the financials are really an important part of the market, obviously. So if we see some continued strength here, that would be a bullish thing. But of course, if we get up here, then we start to roll over. Then we got to kind of reevaluate our position. Healthcare was kind of, kind of weak, but we had a really big turnaround yesterday. And again, it's a situation where we stalled out here because it was support here, right? But the healthcare stocks now look to be back in action. So as you've noticed, everything we're looking at here looks pretty bullish. This is the consumer staples sector, right? You can even argue this is a little bit of a ascending triangle pattern here. And those patterns tend to be pretty reliable. And let's just think about what this shows real quick here. Well, the buyer, people who bought here, selling here. But anyway, so the sellers are basically drawn a line in the sand and they're like, all right, well, we're going to hang out. If the buyers come to us, we'll sell. If not, we don't care. But over the same time horizon, the buyers have gotten increasingly aggressive. They're willing to come into the market at higher prices. So the ascending triangle pattern is essentially a graphical illustration of aggressive buyers and complacent sellers. That sets the stage for a move higher.
I just want to point out that last week you actually showed us this exact same chart, and that previous blue candle that runs right up to the blue horizontal line. Yep, right there. That's when you talked about this. And you said, you know, guys, it looks like this thing wants to go higher. And here we are a week later. It spent time consolidating around that line. And guess what, Mark? It busted higher.
Yeah, these, you'll notice I don't really talk about too many of the traditional quote unquote technical analysis patterns. But I do think that the ascending and descending triangle patterns are pretty, they're pretty reliable as things go. As a matter of fact, I was looking at this. This is what's this called? WC Energy Corp. So this would be this is like your textbook ascending triangle pattern. Yeah. And I don't see where we're trading this morning, but anyway, yeah, so the sellers have hung out waiting for the buyers to come to them. And as time has gone by here, the buyers have gotten more aggressive.
We're at that 117.94 that's on the side of your chart there. We are literally looking to bust the top end of that triangle out today.
Yeah, so this is something I would look at for a potential breakout. Okay. Now, a breakout occurs when we get above a resistance level and we hold above the resistance level. That's obviously an important part of it. Resistance is a large group of sellers. And if we get above it, traders call it a breakout. The reason why this is considered a bullish thing is because it shows us that those sellers are gone. Whoever created that resistance, they've either finished or canceled their orders. So it's basically a graphical illustration, the breakout is, of supply being taken off of a market. So with these aggressive buyers and complacent sellers, there's a good chance that that happens. But we'd want to wait, and ideally you want to see it close above the resistance. Sometimes people get head faked because they look at something intraday during the day and they think like, oh, it looks like it's breaking out. Well, the idea with the breakout, like I said, is the sellers are gone, but the sellers might still be there during the course of the day. They're just on the sidelines. But if they want or need to get finished by the close, they can just push it right back down. So the closing price tends to be more relevant, or I guess more reflective of the actual equilibrium of where the stock should be trading. Now, a couple of interesting things I saw. This was a stock of the day this past week. Now, traders often talk about something called market memory, and that refers to the fact that a price level that's important can remain important for a long time. So back in August, this company here, Centene Corporation, goes into this massive sell-off, and where does it find support? Literally the same support from 10 years ago. So market memory, price levels that are important can stay important for a long time. This resistance level was important for years. We rally back, we fill this gap, and now I'll go to a closer up time frame and look at where the stock stalled out, right? You can't even really see the trading action because it's underneath the blue line. It really didn't do anything, right? Exactly where there was support here. So there's a couple lessons to be taught here besides market memory. This is your classic gap refill. Here's the gap.
Yep.
One of the main reasons in a market why you get resistance, I guess we could see this right up here, is buyer remorse, like we kind of just talked about, right? So people buy and the price goes down and they try to sell on the way up. Well, when you gap or you move really quickly through levels. There's no trading at some of these price levels, or very, very little. Sometimes if a stock is going to have news that could really move the price, the exchange will literally halt the trading. Like they send out an alert, like XYZ is going to report at 4:15. We're going to halt trading at 4:10. You could put in your bids and offers at 4:25, and we're going to reopen the stock at 4:30. So it's not like you would have had an opportunity to sell it on the way down. It literally closes there and opens down there. But lo and behold, now when we get back to those levels in the opposite direction, there's just not a lot of sell interest in here, because you don't have those remorseful buyers from back here trying to sell on the way up. So when the buyers come in, they're like, hey, where the heck are all the sellers? And they have no choice but to really start to outbid each other. And that pushes the price higher. And then wham, we just slammed right into resistance at this former support level. Another example of market memory, which I didn't write about, but I saw, was Nike. All right, so look at where Nike bottomed out here, right around 44 or 45 or so. And if we go back to here, look at that support from 10 years ago, right? It's not so I don't think it's a coincidence that now, are there really people who sold Nike 10 years ago that have been waiting to buy their shares back ever since? I don't know. Probably more of the case that some type of computer program recognizes that we're at former bottoms. But we have to remember, these computer programs that are out there prowling the markets, if they're looking for patterns, they're going to be looking for patterns that are based on history.
They're going to be programmed by humans, so they're looking for what the humans tell them. That's going to be based on history, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. So now here we look at the S&P in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and guess what? They didn't have computers or algorithms back then, or the internet, but they had emotions. And you see the same patterns that we see now: resistance at former resistance, support at former support, resistance can become support, support can become resistance. So things, I think, happened slower back then because of communications, but people haven't changed. And if I was to show everyone this chart and it wasn't labeled, and I could say, hey, look at this new, this new quantum computing stock I just found. Look at the chart of it. You wouldn't be able to tell, I mean, it could look exactly the same. And I think that's a result of people's emotions just haven't changed. Just like now, back then, people felt buyer remorse and seller remorse, and people panicked, and people got overly exuberant, and then people panicked again. This is actually I saw a show about this. This was started by the earthquake in San Francisco, is what got that going. And then this was here. There was a guy named, his last name was Cook. I forget his first name. Anyway, he was one of the biggest bond houses on Wall Street back then. And the guy's claim to fame, or what made him really famous, was he sold Civil War bonds for the Union. So he got incredibly wealthy. But somehow, I don't really remember reading exactly what happened, but his bank failed, and that caused the panic. So that was like the biggest bank on Wall Street fails. But even if we just kind of think a little bit more in depth about this, people aren't in chat rooms here. This is 1893. This is people literally probably writing letters or going to the local telegraph office to telegraph your broker what to do. But yet somehow, some way, all these things manifest themselves together in these price levels. And I mean, I guess you could say this is market memory too. 1881, 1907. I mean,
you know what else stands out about this to me, Mark, is that if you look at this back then, the period that you just covered, and you look right now, I would say that a big difference is that the speed, like you outlined, the speed of communication, that's definitely faster, but also there's more market participants now. And And even with that, we see the same type of patterns.
Right.
Now, fast forward to today, there's a lot of discussion about what's going to happen when that PDT rule is finally removed and everyone can day trade, even the people that have less than 25,000 in their brokerage account. There's a growing thought that, well, there's going to be more market participants, there's going to be more volatility, the market might look different. Mark, I don't think so. I think it's going to be the same thing that we've seen way back, the same thing that we see right now. It's just the amalgamation of all of these emotions that's going to result in the price chart. I don't think there is going to be a difference.
Yeah, exactly. There's more market participants now. I guess, more people are exposed to the markets, and it's not as mysterious as I guess it was in the 1800s. But, there's more people now, so there's going to be more people involved in the market. But yeah, I don't think anything's going to change. And that's actually something to really be on the alert for as we go higher here. Because when people start saying this time is different, that's when you got to pay attention. When people start saying AI is so revolutionary that it's changed the way the markets have worked, the old rules no longer apply. Okay. Those of us who are old enough to remember the internet bubble, if you remember in the late 90s, there was a common new, term thrown around. There was the old economy stocks and the new economy stocks.
Yep.
And the thought was, that's Walmart. Or that's Costco. We're going to value it based on how much money they make. That's old economy. Oh, this is new economy, pets.com. Doesn't matter if it makes money or not. We're going to value it based on how many people can click on the website. Well, guess what happened back here before the market crashed in 29? They had what they called new economy or new error stocks and old error stocks. So it's like the same thing repeating itself. And a lot of this was driven by radio, right? RCA was like their version of, the Mag 7 combined. And the new error versus old error. Oh, Union Pacific at Railroad, that's old error. We got to value that based on how much money it makes. Oh, here's a radio station. Doesn't matter if it makes money or not. We're going to value it based on how many people could potentially listen to it. So if over the next couple of weeks or a couple of months, and we will get to a bubble again at some point, right? As long as history repeats itself, and as we can see, it does. When people start saying things like that, those are the signals to start paying attention and start, they're like, if you're out at dinner and your waiter starts giving you stock tips, that says something, right? The famous Joe Kennedy story, he was getting his shoe shine and the shoe shine boys were talking about stocks, and he went into the office and he sold everything and shorted everything, like right here. And, the thought was he was probably thinking, well, I'm sure he was thinking, if people like shoe shine boys who don't normally buy stocks are buying stocks, well, there's no one left behind them in the food chain to push the price any higher. It can't go any higher. So regardless of what the future prospects are on a stock or on a market, if the market eventually runs out of buyers, then we're close to a top. And this is something to look at going forward as well. If we start seeing bullish sentiment numbers getting up into the 60s and bearish numbers dropping down into the 20s, that's going to be a signal that we're pretty close to a top as well. But right now, I don't see that. Right now, things look, all the charts we've looked at look bullish, right?
Yeah, they do. And I was just talking before you got on here when I was talking about the SPY chart. We're breaking out. And it feels hated. We got people in our chat talking about the end of the world in the next 100 years. The market participation is terrible. The volume is low up here, but nonetheless, corporate earnings are strong. The market looks like it's going to break out. I'm going to go with the trend.
You have to, having an opinion, this is an important statement, right? Or at least in my opinion, actually, it's quite an ironic statement, but I was going to say, in my opinion, having an opinion about the market, I should say, is a very dangerous thing, right? Because if you are looking at the market and you're reading the news or talking to your buddies or whatever, you come away with this conclusion of, oh, I think the market's going to go higher, or I think the market's going to go lower. Well, you're like emotionally committed now to that position. So if things start to go against you, if there's red flags, they're going to be harder to see. There is this great, I don't know if he's still around or not, but this guy was this great commodities trader back in the 80s and 90s. His name was Larry Williams. And I went and I saw him give a speech, and he said something that to this day really sticks with me. He said, go into every trade assuming it's going to be a loser. Because if you assume it's going to be a loser, it's a lot easier to get out of if it starts going against you. If you go in there assuming it's going to be a winner, well, then it's going to be hard to get out of because it will be a blow to your ego. The two biggest mistakes traders make is they hold their losers for too long and they sell their winners too soon. So,
Mark, that. You know what? I don't think I've ever heard that before. That makes complete sense. Just assume every time you hit the buy button that you're going to get pounded. That way, when you don't, you're golden.
Yeah. It's really,
I mean, what a brilliant move.
Yeah, it's really, it sounds so simple and it's really profound. But, if we look at Steve Cohen, who I traded for a long time ago, which is where I really kind of, learned all this stuff. I just kind of want to show you guys something here because people think that guys like, Cohen here now is the owner of the New York Mets, like they have these like secret systems or they come up with these models that always work. And that's
well,
just
if you've
not
watched
true.
the Mets, you know that his secret system kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry for taking pot shots here. I'm just. It's Friday.
Well, the Mets have become. Some have called them the wokest team in professional sports, but we'll leave that for another time. But listen to this, right? We're talking about best traders in the world. I mean, this guy literally has Vincent van Gogh paintings hanging in his house. I've seen them with my own eyes. My best trader makes money 63% of the time. Most traders make money only 50 to 55% of the time. Now, you might say to yourself, how is it possible you could be so successful only being right half the time? I think a retail trader can have a better win rate than this because these guys are dealing with huge sums of money.
Agreed.
And also, too, speaking as a trader who worked there, when you call someone up and you say, hey, we're a seller of, this or that, people are very reluctant to take the other side of the trade because they think you're always right, but you're not. They're only right half the time. But anyway, how is this possible? Well, the answer is they don't take big losses and they let their winners run. The two hardest things there are to do in trading. If you have a paper trading account and something says, your model says buy it at 10, sell if it gets to 15. Well, on paper, that's easy because there's no emotions. But if you put a real 10 grand in there, and it gets to 12 or 13, now you're thinking, man, I'm up $2,000, $3,000 here.
Mm-hmm.
I know my target's 15, but I'm going to sell. And then it goes to 15 and you left, a couple points on the table.
Yep.
Well, these guys have the emotional discipline to let that, go. And they're obviously not perfect. And I've been on a lot of trading desks in my years on Wall Street. This is the only desk I've ever been on that has a psychiatrist working there. So he was their trading coach. I don't know if he's still around or not. He used to work with the Olympic athletes. Basically, a trader messes up, they go and they talk to him. Trader gets in a fight with their wife and they're in a bad mood. They talk. Trader gets really giddy and happy because they're, doing so well. He'll come and talk to you and be like, dude, you better chill out because, this is, So anyway, my takeaway from this was, wow, if these guys that are the greatest traders in the world, all they talk about is psychology. That's it. Steve used to say all the time, there's a lot of systems that work, but people just don't stick to them. And that's the problem. So anyway, I got some time for a few questions if anyone wants to.
I would love to group, throw some tickers in there. I know we're running short here on time. I'll just start here. How about Apple and SanDisk, AAPL, SNDK? Those are two of the big earnings reports from yesterday. Highly traded. Charts probably look juicy.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple extra minutes today because I don't have a 9 o'clock meeting.
Okay.
But let's see here. So we're at 280. And I guess the obvious thing to look for here is closing in on the all-time high.
Yep.
So a lot of times when you get to all-time highs, there tends to be resistance. So if I was a shorter term trader, I would probably be thinking about this for a price target. And then, of course, if you get there and it consolidates as opposed to reversing and it breaks out, then you could just jump back in. If it reverses, then as an options trader, you can think about buying puts, or even some of the, or if you're not an options trader, the inverse single stock ETFs that they have now. So there's always ways to make money. A lot of people think if the market's going to go down, they got to go to cash, but that's really wrong, right? If you're a trader, you got to have opportunities, and markets can go down faster than they go up. So a lot of times it's easier to make money on the downside than it is on the upside. Like think about the, we talked about this last week, the Avis short squeeze. I mean, it took whatever, a couple of weeks to get there, and it gave it all back in, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So it's, this is a little bit of a unique example because this is a short squeeze, but if you think the market's going to go down, the common thought is, well, go to cash or ride it out, because I'll ride it out because it'll eventually come back, right? But that's an opportunity. If you think the market's going to go down, instead of going to cash, you can go to inverse ETFs.
Yep.
And another thing, I guess, just to kind of go to the whole buy and hold mentality, I noticed this a couple of days ago, which I never really had noticed it before. I've never pointed it out. But anyway, so here's the Dow Jones. If you bought the Dow, let's say you were buy and hold and you didn't trade. If you bought the Dow Jones in 1905 at 100, you didn't make money really until 1942 if you were buy and hold, right? So, you put your money in the market when you're 20, and when you're 60, it's the exact same amount, right? So
you put it in there when you're 20. When you're 40, it looks like it's working. When you're 45, it's like, oh shit, something happened. And then when you're 60, it finally worked again.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really just amazes me to this day about the market is just how quickly things can change. Just like Monday and Tuesday, some stock could be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it gets jacked up by 30%. Wednesday and Thursday, all of a sudden it's a fire sale, and it just goes right back down. And it's just the human. Like I think it's a good football analogy. Where a team's bringing the ball down the field and they get to the other team's goal line and it's 4th and 1 and they go for it, but the defense makes a goal line stand, and all of a sudden the momentum just completely shifts, and now the team that made the goal line stand just starts going down the other way. And even if we just look at the stock here, which is what I'm writing about today for the stock of the day, I mean, I don't know what made this thing gap up back here, but it gapped right back down. Same thing here, gaps down, gaps up. But the reason why I'm talking about this today in my stock of the day is I think there's a good chance we're going to hit some resistance right around where we're trading. We're trading at 180. This blue line is 175. And going back to here, January and April of 22, it was an important level. And as we've seen with the market memory, these important price levels can be important for a long time. So if I own this stock, I'd be watching it here to see if it holds or makes some kind of quick reversal over the next couple of days.
All right, Mark, really good stuff, guys. Speaking of stock of the day, be sure to sign up for Mark's Substack. I put the QR code in the upper right corner of the screen. Mark does a great job with all of that. Mark, we appreciate all of your time. Thanks for spending a couple extra minutes with us today. Enjoy your weekend. If you go golfing, go low.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, man. I'm going to try to go play this afternoon, play 9 holes.
Okay, so, good for you. Yeah, I wish I could. I got too busy of a day here, but good stuff, Mark. We really appreciate it.
I'll see you all next week.
We'll see you next time. All right, folks, that is Mark Putrino. Again, QR code up in the right corner there. Sign up for his Substack. He's awesome. It's awesome. Lots of really good stuff there. And he ties in history, which I think is incredibly important. It doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. We can learn from that. All right. No street tweets today. We're going to go right into Pre-Market Pulse. $13, good morning. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Sorry if it's a little dark here. I've got some massive overcast. We just had a massive and rather large thunderstorm come through here, and we're still feeling it. It's beautiful, but it's not letting sun through. So that's why it's a little dark here today. But good morning, everybody.
No problem. We will lighten it up with our mood and our trades. So no worries. Forget the sun. Who cares? Just kidding. All right. Welcome everybody else that was down the dial. Nice to see you here. Jay saying, good morning. Happy May 1st. Happy Inflows Day. What in April? Indeed. In fact, wasn't that one of the best Aprils since like 2021 or something? My producer gave me the stat this morning, but he must be away from the computer right now. It was indeed, and we'll see where we go from here. Jay, it's great to have you. 13, you want to start with movers? Do you want to start with any individual stock?
I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot, but let's get these movers taken care of.
All right, and I think the one at the top of the top of the list here is probably the one that's
Chew it up.
Cue it up. Well done. This is probably the one that's drawing the most attention here. This is Q. Now, the ticker is CUE, and the catalyst here, Q Biopharma expands its pipeline with an exclusive licensing from Ascendant Health Sciences, clinical stage dual mechanism anti-IgE antibody. They basically announced a $30 million private placement. They also named a new CEO. So, here is some more stats on that. Private placement for gross proceeds of $30 million. They're selling pre-funded warrants for up to 2.7 million shares and accompanying $11 warrants for 1.36 million shares. So company announced $30 million. So huge move here for Q. The stock is up 128.5%. Yes, that's actually it. This is what it looks like. We were actually slightly higher, if you can believe that, in the after hours yesterday. We shall see if that gets popped and broke through here today. The volume is continuing to expand. Woo! Taking a look at the short interest on this one, 2.74% of the float shorted. That was actually the prior read. I don't know why I don't have one this time. Looks like the float chain is split.
That's
all right. Yep. So we had a 1 for, thank you, 13. We had a 1 for 30 just a week ago. And now the stock is absolutely ripping. So that float should be more conducive here. This goes higher. 13, take it away.
All right. So, yeah, this is a little bit of a different biotech company here. This one actually has cash, actually has revenue, and is actually slightly profitable according to their last earnings report, which is not something you typically see in a biotech company. But it's still doing reverse splits. It's still needing to raise cash. It just had a $30 million pipeline, so I don't think they're going to need to raise any capital soon. But that pipeline investment is for a specific drug development, Ascendant-221, and that also received a special type of phase 2 license that is called. Sorry, give me 1 second here because I didn't write it down. Anti-IgE antibody license. So several things happening here with this one. They got the pipeline, that license, and they have a new CEO appointed. So big things happening here with this company. I was looking at where this might go, and I thought that we might see this run up to a trend line here, and I think we just moved through it. Actually, we did move through. We actually pushed through it while I was looking at this.
What was your trend line?
The trend line starts. It's on the daily. If you want to start there, it starts with the 2 peaks back from May and July of 2023.
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I'm going to have that here. Oh, right here.
2023.
Oh geez, Ryan, get it together.
You're looking at them right there. Those 2 peaks.
These right here.
That should be them.
That's May of 2023 and July of 2023.
So draw a trend line, and now it's going to look a little different because we have the weekly taken off. But if you go back to a daily, now that you have that started, you can extend it down to yesterday's high.
Yeah, and it looks like yesterday's high. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying do this.
Why does that? Okay, well, I have no idea. Yeah. I mean, you're still really zoomed in on this whole area. You need to. Yeah, that looks more. Okay, I don't know why yours looks so different. But anyway. Oh no, maybe it was just the high from April, Monday. Sorry, because you had the weekly on there. I was getting confused, but it dropped through the high from Monday. Anyway, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm doing the best I can, bro. That's
Trend line, and it's probably going to end up being support, I would think, but this is a biotech. So, we are approaching the $35 high. I think that we do end up going past it. There's a possibility we run further. I have another trend line. I'm not going to make you draw it, but it's just an intraday one that could take us up.
I think I got it. Please tell me that that's it.
No. Anyway.
13. Oh man, you love poking me and getting me to fail. It is awesome.
Anyway, this has some great news. This is especially for a biotech company. Does it go as high as as this trend line that I've drawn here thinks which would be in the 70s? I don't know. 35 is going to be the breakout spot, but we'll see if we end up getting that high. This thing has already run quite a bit.
Okay, we'll see what we get here on cue. Big mover here today. Good luck if you trade it.
Trade this mover, book your gains.
I was just going to say the same thing. This, to me, this is the only advice I'm comfortable giving here today. If you trade this, trade it and book your gains and get out. That's it. All right, moving on. Next one here is going to be LABT. This is Lakewood Amedex. This stock traded up towards 450. It closed yesterday at 266, traded up towards 450 today. Here's your catalyst from today. Lakewood Amedex Biotherapeutics announces an antimicrobial resistance data for its lead compound NU3, which showed slightly increased minimum inhibitory concentration at the end of experiment for E. coli and were unchanged for MRSA. So it's getting positive data there about one of its treatments. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. None. I actually don't have a read at all on that. Don't have.
I won't have a read for a lot of things.
Okay. Float though, 7.5 million. On average, it trades 1.1 million. Session volume here, 22.5 million. What do you think on this one?
This one's been on the market for a little more than a week now. So there's not a lot of historical data to go off of, and they don't have a lot of data on their finances and whatnot. So what I did see here from what it's available to me is they don't have revenue, they have very little cash, and they're not profitable. So here we are back to what a biotech actually should look like. And we could see this climb back up to, I would say, 6. And there's a gap up there from Friday going into today. I'm sorry, this week's Monday. So we could run up to that $6 area that was resistance before that gap. Whether or not we fill the gap, I don't know, but I think that we could see the price try to attempt to get back up to 6 there. But that's all I've really got with this one. There's just not enough information on this when I was looking at it.
All right. Sounds good. Next one here is ESPR, and I believe this is an acquisition. Yep. So this is done. Nothing to trade here. Lion says, Ryan, relax and enjoy your coffee. I will tell the group as it is. I will never sugarcoat it. Lion, I am not going to have you take over.
Lion, you're sweet enough.
Yeah, you're great. You're great, but you are not taking over. And actually, I have enjoyed my coffee. I'm on to some tea now. We got some honey ginseng green tea here, so we are rolling. All right, next stock on the list here is going to be ACAN. This is AKAN. This started moving on the pot theme that we got a couple of what was last week. The interesting thing about this one is that this is the big mover. This thing never really stopped. The rest of them all pulled back. A lot of them came back in, but ACAN kept going. This thing is low float. I definitely do not think it's worth $62. So I think I would expect it to at some point come back in. But right now it is a trading vehicle. And if you were in the Benzinga Pro chat rooms yesterday, you saw people trading this in both directions. I expect probably some of the same here today on ACAN. Let's see if there was any new news on this. Liable to pop this 27.8%. Nope, nothing. So this is just continued momentum, relative volume, and all of that. 4% of the float shorted here, 1 day to cover. On average, stock trades 1.9 million shares, down 1.3 here today. Float is about 500,000. 13, what do you think here on ACAN?
So still going off of the rescheduling of cannabis, I think that this has come up to a bit of a resistance area, or we're very close to hitting it. I think we did actually hit it in the pre-market here because we hit 73. If you go to a monthly chart, there is a 20-month SMA that has the value of 69.17. I think that's going to come into play here today. It looks like it already has a little bit with the way we popped it, or we opened, I believe, at 73, and we've just been coming back in ever since. So, and that's also, there's also a significant amount of supply over that moving average. It really starts to pick up around 78, and you have a lot of supply until about 125, 130. So even if we do move past that 20-month moving average, there's a lot of supply in there that's going to feature probably a lot of sellers. I would think that we are going to be seeing some resistance here in this this area where that 20-month SMA is, and maybe just slightly above it.
Okay. Really good stuff there on ACAN. We'll see what we get. Lion here. Here's Lion's read on ACAN. Hell no, Ryan. I'm looking to short it. So there you go.
I think it'd be a good move.
Say again?
I think that'd be a good move. It's just because I think it's we're about to hit resistance. We did hit it in this morning. It could continue to leak.
Lion goes on to say, ACAN at 64, that's insane. I will short the crap at it very soon. Lion, I tell you what, man, you have some of the best typing mistakes that I have ever seen in my 42 years of being on God's green earth. Retro Texas, hey, Ryan, 13, I have worked my way to Denver. All right.
Nice.
Be sure to say hi to Peter while you're there.
And yeah, Jay, AMSC, man, this thing has had a fantastic month, isn't it? It's probably, I mean, is that the best candle it's ever had? I don't know. I'd have to look back up some more, but that was a just absolutely fantastic month for the company. We captured the 200 month in the process. We'll see if it can hold. This is one of the electrical infrastructure plays.
And this actually looks like it's teasing a breakout here. Teasing a breakout. Really quick, just because I made a joke, I just want to make sure it hits correctly and goes over well. I'm not trying to offend anybody on a Friday here. Lion, I was being serious. I enjoy the typing mistakes because they bring me joy. They bring me laughter. It's absolutely not a criticism. I'm well aware English is not your first language, and I'm well aware that you speak like 7 other languages, which is extremely impressive. So by no means is that a shot. I am made happier by it, and I look at it in a positive light. So just to be clear, not a criticism by any means. Okay, 13. Good stuff there on AMSC. Did you have anything else on your list that we should cover?
No, actually that was it. Hey, Ken, I just wanted to make sure I had that written off to the side. Maybe it goes to 70, but anyway, I still think that we're seeing resistance in that one this morning.
Okay. There are 2 more on here that the group has talked about. We already covered Team. We talked about ACAN. Someone asked about Reddit. I think Eric called you daddy and then said thank you and then said, what's your thought here on Reddit? So we can actually cover Reddit here. Shout out to whoever asked about this yesterday. I know we talked about it very briefly, but we didn't give a whole lot there. This thing ended up being one of the better earnings plays yesterday. Reddit shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results and issued Q2 sales guidance above estimates. This thing stopped at 172, came back in a little bit, but looks like it's right back on now. So we'll see here on Reddit. Did you have anything here on the chart?
The question was Reddit or Roblox, and my reaction was to both. But if I had to choose one, it would be Reddit, and because I don't like Roblox at all. I don't like that they lose hundreds of millions.
Well, you did it right because this is up 15% and Roblox is down 25%. So that was a good call.
Yeah, I think Roblox is going to have a hell of a time trying to get out from underneath all those losses.
This is all becoming more clear now. Eric called him Papa. I said Daddy. Sorry, Eric. As in reference to the Pope because of his blessing on the stock. Eric, this was really good. I'm sorry this went over my head like I was a dunce. I apologize, but glad you straightened it out there for us.
Only 2 people are allowed to call me daddy. Anyway. I have kids, man. Bud.
I know. Just keep going.
So anyway, Reddit is this thing is just continuing to trade inside a rising, broadening wedge. This move here after the earnings is probably going to have it open above the 20-month SMA. This is something that was lost back in February. We traded underneath it for a couple of months and we tried to recapture it. Now it looks like we may just do that. If this does climb higher, I think there's going to be some resistance potentially at 180. And if not there, then 200. But But if I don't know if you want to draw the broadening wedge yourself, it's not hard at all. Just go to a monthly chart and just draw trend lines from the top side and the bottom side.
Got it.
You have your broadening wedge. It's pretty clear. You can see it easily. But we could continue to bounce around in this. So if this is going to turn around and come back up, we've got some heights to go. I don't know for sure if we're going to end up going back up to the top end of this wedge. That would mean that we're going to be seeing like $300-400 prints. But that's just where we're at right now. We could find some resistance like that 180 area. Like I said, maybe we fall back beneath the 20 and end up losing this the bottom end of the broadening wedge, because these rising broadening wedges, their resolution tends to be falling out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know what we'll end up getting here today, but that's what I'd be watching for if the 20-month estimate can hold and we try to push up through 180.
Okay, perfect. Now, the other ticker that was mentioned earlier that also happens to be on this movers list, it is TMC. Eric asking again, can we look at TMC too? Yes, as a matter of fact, we can. TMC is the metals company. It actually looks like this is sitting at or close to a support level. TMC, the metals company, shares are trading higher after the company announced an NOAA determined that the metals company USA consolidated application for an exploration license and commercial recovery permit is in full compliance. So good news here. Stocks up just 7.5% here. Let's take a look at the short interest on this name. 11.28%, 6.8 days to coverage is actually something there. Not super high, but something there. No insider buying recently on this. Taking a look at the volume here, on average, it trades 5.6 million shares. Done 1.18 here today. Floats thick, though, 274 million. You got anything on the chart here on TMC for your son?
So we're going to open above the 50-day SMA today. It looks like this did have a death cross back toward the end of March. Looks like we may have found some support down around 4. I don't know if that's going to be the bottom, but it looks like since we're still on our way back up, we may have put that in. We are coming up to this or getting into this consolidation channel that was established from February, beginning of February this year until we fell out of it in March 18th. So that supply right there is something I'd be concerned about. That's going to be from about, it looks like about 565 to 665, we'll just say. So that dollar range there with that consolidation could be a problem. And then, as the price climbs through that, it's going to run into the 200-day SMA. So I would think that somewhere in there, maybe around 6 to that 200-day SMA, you're going to run into some resistance. But the high that we had this morning was 588, and that lines up with the pretty close to the high that we had on April 22nd, the highest print that we've had since that was above the 50-day SMA recently.
Okay. Mo Chillin says, bunch of laughs leading into the weekend. I like it. I don't like it, Mo. I love it. And you can count on those laughs on Friday. We make these Fridays fun all of the time. That is for sure. Okay, 13, really good breakdown there on TMC.
Yep. Lion was mentioning he may buy some puts right at the open. One of the things we talked about yesterday is if we...
Is that on ACAN, though?
I don't know. I think he's talking about the broader market.
I'm doing some homework on ACAN. I will let you know when I buy some puts. I may buy some puts right at the open.
Yeah, but when it comes to the broader market, we were talking about how if we gap up this morning, we could end up seeing some selling into that. So this is something I'm watching for here. It looks like we are going to end up gapping up.
To a new all-time high, by the way.
To an all-time high. So I think I would be more inclined to believe that we're going to be selling after we open, filling that gap to the downside.
Okay. All right. Any other chart? We've got 6 minutes here. Any other chart that you want to take a look at? 13, do you have anything on deck that you want to look? Maybe Roblox? I know you hate it, so I don't want to force it on you. I don't want to force it on you. I just
it's okay. And if you want me to just continue to talk this thing down.
Well, no. You know what? We've got another one here. I think someone else was asking about QCOM earlier, but also Hore, also asking about QCOM here. This has been on a recent move. We actually have a trend line. In fact, I'll back out here just in case, 13, you want to talk about some of these trend lines here. I'm going to step away for just 1 second. I'll be right back. Is that all right for you to go over QCOM?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be that. I I do have a channel here. I was watching some other price action back in 2024, so this has been extended out. Looks like we've been trying to clear this 185 area yesterday, because that's kind of where the highs were back from January and late last year. Getting rejected there right now, but it looks like we're going to open in the real body of yesterday's candle. So if we do get that inside candle, I would want to see over the next few days several candles trying to incrementally go higher and trying to push up out of this. The problem is that this is kind of extended right now. We're looking at almost an 83 RSI on the daily, and I think that's going to put some pressure on the upside. But if we do manage to try and push higher back over 180, that's what I'd be wanting to see. Is just maybe a little bit more slower movement into some new highs. I just don't know if we're going to get that. To me, it seems like this needs to cool off for a little bit before we push higher, which I do think we can. I do think we can push higher, but maybe following some selling is what I would think. Let's see here. And I do want to talk about Generac, because we're entering we're starting to get into some very favorable seasonality for that. I think I mentioned with Generac maybe last week or the day that they reported earnings, which I think was earlier this week, that following the earnings report they just have, the stock tends to go on a very, very nice prolonged run. I'm talking about Generac now.
Got it. Perfect.
And because we're leading in some seasonality that includes the hurricane season, which starts in June and runs until November, the stock has a tendency to run during those months, typically, topping out in the later summer months. So I think we're kind of extended right now, but I think following a pullback, this is probably going to be a good seasonal play to go with as we enter the hurricane season.
Here is the seasonality chart, and the numbers on this are absolutely eye-popping. The date range on this is April 30th to September 1st, and the winning trades percentage is 100% with an average profit of 30.96%. These are beastly seasonality stats.
Yeah,
good mention, 13.
Thank you. It's had a really good track record of just starting to do very, very well following the earnings report it just had. So something I watch for every year with this company.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. TER is getting mentioned here, TER. And I think, Kathy, you were on this one yesterday, right? So here's TER. This is Teradyne. This fell on earnings, didn't it? Yes. So on Tuesday, this thing reported earnings beat on the top and the bottom line, but shares got pounded despite the strong results. Since then, it started to trade back up. Looks like yesterday, we got JP Morgan, price target 400. That was Goldman Sachs maintained a buy and raised its price target from 300 to 350. Citigroup buy 325 to 400. Evercore lowered their price target to 370. That's still 25 points higher than where it's at. So a lot of price targets higher than this. Teradyne recently pulled back. Looks like it's bouncing off of the 50. We have a gap fill back up to 382. We got the 20 days smack dab in the middle. What do you think?
I think that if this doesn't hold up here, then I'd be looking at the 50-day SMA, and then there's also looks like there's some support down around 300, maybe just slightly underneath 300. I would say that's probably going to be one of your, more worst case scenarios. As far as upside, I would be looking at that 20-day. Let me look at a broker chart here.
365.
Yeah, and we did go to we did have a high of 353 and 54 cents yesterday. So those highs from yesterday, like I guess 350 could even be a resistance level. So I'd be keeping an eye on those highs, and I think you could also draw. No, maybe not. I was just looking to see if there's any trends we could identify here, but I guess I would just kind of lean on that 350 for now. If we get past that, we can re-examine some other areas. But for now, I think that 350 area is what I'd be leaning on for resistance.
Okay. All right, we are under a minute to go here.
Actually, 2 seconds. And there it is.
Well done. Well done. All right. Good stuff there. We are open. Get these SPY contracts up here. I guess there's a 0 DTE trade to do today.
All right. Let's see what we got out of the gate here. ACAN coming down. TMC coming down. Let's see. We had LABT. That popped up to the session. I'm sorry, the pre-market highs right up in there, and then came back in briefly. Doesn't look like it's quite finished. It looks like it wants to try and push higher. Let's see what we end up getting with LABT. Q. We did get to 35.88, so just slightly past that pre-market. I'm sorry, that after-hours high that we had. Now we're selling and going beneath VWAP at the moment with that one as well.
S&P futures and SPY both pulled back to VWAP. So far, they're holding here. So far, they are holding here. By the way, quick update on NN. This is actually above 19. Remember when I said on this one, you can probably get 20, 21 out of this. This at 19, so we're approaching closing order time from this low 16s on that little swing on the Oppenheimer defense.
Wow. Sorry, I just was watching Chewy. That's having a good open here. Went up like almost 50 cents.
This, I believe, came back in too, right? This, yeah, we talked about this really kind of coming back into a decent level down here. SPY is trading higher now. 721.5. Looks like we might be going to 722. Did not get a buy signal from my indicator, so not in this move.
We had some pre-market highs of 720. We'll call it 722. So let's see what happens at 722. Looks like we're getting a little push here from LABT. I'm curious to see if this is going to try and go past that 465 high. If we get a little bit more volume expansion, we could end up getting that. Right up on AMD doubling. Oh, wow, okay. GitLab, says Eric.
GitLab, actually, I feel like we traded this, like this almost as like a short-term trade, like not long ago.
We did talk about it recently.
Yeah, and now here we go. GitLab, this is a good move here. Good stuff, Eric. You know what, Eric? You're going to get a register ring for all of the good stuff today.
Yeah, this thing was getting hammered lately, and now it just started on to be on the recovery. I thought, yeah, look at the daily chart on this. This thing was just this and the other one that reported Atlassian, I believe it's called.
Team.
Ticker Team. Yeah, these both were getting hammered, and they're in. My understanding is they're in similar spaces. Yeah,
these are software like Atlassian's claim to fame is the program Jira, which is done for like product and ticket management.
Mm-hmm. So you could see these, GitLab and Atlassian, those could be turning around and making their way back up. They've got quite a climb, but could be seeing that.
SPY above, 722.11, your high print there in SPY. Looks like a lot of stuff is starting here early. Apple above the pre-market highs. Palantir is popping. How's Roblox doing?
I mean, that thing had a really big sell-off. It could potentially bounce.
Yeah, and it is. And so this is where someone mentioned, I think it was Acorns, mentioned that this is, and damn, I said I was going to show you how to set this up. I'll do it really quick right now. Acorns, I believe, mentioned earlier that this stock here, possible continuation to the downside, but also a possible dead cat bounce. And I would agree with him. I'm going to forget that first morning candle here. I'm going to put this mark here at 43.71, a horizontal line, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. What I would look for here on Roblox is a move out of this very tight range and then a back test of that range. Doesn't matter which side it does. If it moves up and then back tests it and hold, then it's a long. If it moves down, breaks the bottom, back tests the bottom, and then starts to roll over again, it's a short. This is what I'd be looking at for Roblox if you must trade it here today.
MRAM, mover from yesterday, straight up out of the gate.
To 2032, MRAM, big pop. This actually took us above the range that we couldn't get out of yesterday. Strong move there for MRAM.
Looks like a lot of the movers that we were looking at here today, not having that much of a good day now. LABT could not get back above that 465 high. We're trading beneath VWAP at the moment. Q, this also trading underneath VWAP. There may be some support coming from some of the demand zones in the pre-market. Maybe we'll see some support down closer to 27.50, maybe 28. What else do we have here?
Q spread pretty good too. That's a risky one.
ACAN was dropping as we opened. That looks like it's trying to turn around and recapture the 65 EMA. It's moving above my VWAP right now.
What a move there in SPY. That happened too early, I think, for my indicator to go off, which is one of the reasons why it didn't. But boy, oh boy, we popped here. New all-time high, 722.52 on SPY.
I just think that we'll probably see some selling here. I'm just going to get. I really feel like it needs to come back in, and then go higher. I want to see a little bit of cooling and then go higher.
Sober Safe. This was a penny stock this morning, now in dollar territory. Q melted through the VWAP to the downside.
Oh, Sober Safe is over $1 now. Cool.
It is 102.
Now,
Just
is that the one that's involved with the? I know what the company is, but is that the one that's been getting the headlines about putting AI in vehicles, and or is that something different? Because I think that's just for breathalyzing your car.
Yeah, this is just the. I don't think it has the AI headlines on that. That must be another one that's similar. Just rolling through some of the stocks that you folks are mentioning here in the chat. Here's Oracle. This up 5%. Big pop there on Oracle.
Teradyne dropped down to 336.66 and reversed. Now it's back above VWAP, trying to recapture that now supply zone from the pre-market. U
is having another good day. 55 now. This up 3.3%.
That's awesome because they just passed the Department of Homeland Security funding yesterday, which funds TSA. So you would think that this comes back in from that, and it's not. I believe that's because there's more than just airport applications for this company. You're going to see them in sporting events. You're going to see them in like theme parks, maybe zoos. Bars. I think this company you're going to see some pretty aggressive expansion over time here. But they also have earnings next week on Wednesday, so we'll see what they've got to say. I'm looking for $65 from this company.
Scott Rathbone saying MRAM is parabolic. Indeed. I got a stupid target for you here. All I did was extend the trend line that you and I talked about yesterday. That puts that target in a 28 handle. That's MRAM.
All right, I like it. It could do that. I'd make sure to have your limit orders set if it does get up there.
Yeah, I mean, this being in the memory space, frankly, it can do anything, right? Would you really be shocked if it went higher? I would not.
Well, now that you're making me wonder what SMDK is doing.
Let's see if we get any type of bounce in SMDK. Good call there. Yeah. Yep. This is continuing to trade up off the lows. Mentioned that in the pre-market too. Looks like that first move back to 1080. There we go, Eric. I'm in MRAM at 12 and I'm looking for 25, more than a double on that equity move. Eric, let me know when you hit that. If I'm not looking at it, that is a register ring that you are owed, brother. Microsoft up 1.6% as well. MU is up. Joe saying that went up 12 instantly.
Memory names are back.
This is up $3.50. I don't think I know what you mean, Joe. I don't know what the time frame is. I rather. CERS was also getting mentioned by the group. That's a $3 stock here. So what it looks like, that's vertical. CERS shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results and issued fiscal year 26 sales guide. BTIG went from neutral to buy.
I'm just looking for something here. looks like we're getting a little bit of a slowdown here in the broader market.
It did come off that high. It's coming back in, but it's trying to hold 722. Yep. Oh, Joe, thank you. So pre-market peak to trough. Thank you, Joe. That makes sense. Let me take a look at this daily here on CERS. We did pop above that recent high. Still at another resistance here area, though, JJ. I think this has got to clear out 305. 3 to 305, I think you probably need to clear this out on CERS.
So, Reddit's getting $300 price targets from Needham and Evercore ISI. Yeah, I mean,
nice little dip to that 200 EMA and bounce back up to VWAP. Can't take it though.
Let's see. And we do have some markets that are closed today and next week, so it's we could see even less participation.
What is it? The UK is open today but closed on Monday. Someone mentioned that yesterday. I just want to make sure I get it right. I think it was
yeah. So Japan and the UK and Canada are open today. I believe almost everybody else is closed. And then Monday, Japan is closed, and I think they're closed all week because they have a holiday that spans that week. They have, I think there's going to be some intermittent days where the European Union markets are closed and South Korea's markets are closed. But yes, there's not all markets are going to be open throughout the week next week, starting today.
Sober, this did take the next leg higher here. That was another good mention. SPY new high 722.62. That has been strong here out of the gate. We'll see if it holds up. Remember, inflows here today, so maybe watch for a possible reversal. Q continues to get pounded here. That moves lower. That actually broke the 65 EMA to the downside.
So Q, now with its, we're in the third candle now. It's looking like the selling is trying to slow down here. So we'll see if we end up having the price turn around here, trying to get some support from the 65 EMA. If it does over this candle and the next one, we might see a reversal.
Okay.
CUE.
LWLG, this is another good mention. Kathy, I think you were one of the first to bring this up. You and Jay Rice, I think, were on this one. This popped again. This thing has been great. This thing's strong and at the highs right now.
Nokia having a great, seeing some folks mention Nokia.
Knights Lance, if you're out there, I'm sorry we couldn't get to this yesterday. I know you gave it to me right at the end of happy hour. This is what the intraday looks like. As 13 just said, this thing's been strong. What's your thought on this, 13?
Well, this is one of the companies that's part of NVIDIA's 6G development ecosystem. This and a handful of other companies are partnering with them. Let me I know I have a watch list of this. Let me get it together here. I'll share it with you all. But these are the companies that are publicly traded that are working with NVIDIA. There you go. Nokia's one, Dell, Cisco, Ericsson, T-Mobile.
Jay Rice, I'm up almost 100% on Nokia now. What's the exit strategy? Is that the Jay Rice trim often and book gains as it keeps moving up?
ACAN is halted to the upside.
Put it on screen here.
It looks to me like Nokia's going to go to 15. I know we're super extended right now, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of caution on that statement there with 15, but this momentum looks like it could take it up there, and maybe 14 or 15. But I think that's what's going to happen. This looks like it's just on a massive run here. I'm also looking at the weekly. Let me look at the daily here. Still pretty extended, 83 RSI. But I maintain this thing looks like it wants 14 to 15. So I wouldn't be surprised if it got up there.
Captain Cloudy up 120% on MU. Zero DTE. Register rings all abound for our group here as we continue to push to new highs. I told you I love it. ACAN halted right at the VWAP, by the way.
Yeah. This thing bounced right off the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. But this is halted right at that supply area. So curious to see what we end up getting here out of the halt. Now, remember, I still think that 70 area is going to provide some resistance. So out of this halt, we'll see what we if that happens. Looks like Q is getting some support from that 65 EMA as we were talking about earlier. This current candle also needs to hold here. Otherwise, we're going to continue lower.
Don't see anything crazy yet off the UOA. XOM 150 calls. This looks like a closing trade, though. Maybe. Yeah, I don't see anything I love off this yet.
Thoughts
I'll
on
let you know if
Flex?
that changes.
Thoughts on Flex as a long-term play? I want to say I've seen this before.
I mean, this chart is, I don't know the company all that well. I feel like we've peeked at this before. Look at this daily chart, dude.
Yeah.
Look at this thing. This thing from the Liberation, this thing was $24 on Liberation Day. Man. What is this, Kath? Earnings in 5 days. I have no idea what to expect from that.
I mean, this is electrical components company. And
This has got to be part of the data center play then.
Infrastructure, all that. Yeah. So
absolutely.
They're apparently acquiring electrical power products for $1.1 billion in cash.
Their segments include automotive, health solutions, and industrial. That sounds great. A great place to be centered in. That sounds like a great wheelhouse.
Yeah. Now, what is the exact products that they make? To me, in my mind, when I see this and I think electrical, it's like, oh, it's conduit or something like that. But I don't know exactly what they make.
Product management services to electronics and technology companies.
It sounds so vague to me.
Here, let's take a look then real quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious, because if there's something specific about this that makes me want to look at other companies, we could see some movement in other companies that are in the same space.
So it looks like for critical power, they do things like busways, switch gears, field services, power modules, cooling. So this is also one of the things.
This is everything.
This is everything that we'd be looking at.
This is everything that
semiconductors, automotive parts. Kathy, this is a great find.
Yeah.
My big worry about this is like we were just saying about the daily chart. But you know what? In this theme, that really hasn't been bad. I mean, I know this thing has really moved from recently, right? So from the beginning of April, this thing moved from 70 to where it is now. But it's just, it seems like this is absolutely in the right theme.
Yeah. I don't know where. I mean, maybe this goes to 100 and that's your off ramp. I don't know if that's going to be the case. But this month that it just had, April, and I'm sure it's like this for a lot of other companies, best month ever.
Oh my gosh. Where's the noob? Chipotle, big time buy here. You have a put buy here, expires 6/05. So this is going to be June 5th. They're buying the 29 puts. They bought 41,300 puts and spent nearly $1 million on that out of the money put buy. Chipotle.
So you don't like it?
No, that is a bearish option buy on Chipotle.
How about $20 then?
That is interesting.
I only say 20.
Just had earnings too.
Yeah, I only say, but this thing looks like it's on the monthly chart, like we're forming a bit of a bear pennant. So if we do get this resolution, we're going to fall through 30. I don't know exactly where the bottom is, but my guess is probably down towards the 200-month SMA, which is at 1975.
Several of you are mentioning TLTH. Did I get that right? TLIH, excuse me. TLIH. This is its second halt to the upside here, halted at 420. TTMI is similar to Flex.
Yeah, but it's a Singapore company.
Yeah,
I
this
don't know.
says it's United States. TTMI.
TTMI? Oh, I thought you were talking about TLIH.
Oh,
Right, that was
no.
my
Sorry.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, I'm moving fast here. I apologize. TTMI is the one that's similar to Flex.
TTMI. Let me look at that.
TT, Tango, Mike, Indigo.
This looks like it has a little bit more going on. They're talking about radio frequency components and microwave assemblies. I don't know. I don't recall seeing much of that out of Flex, but this seems like they've got some other stuff going on in addition to what Flex also does.
Apple new highs. Let's go, Big Mama. Let's go. Spy trying to go for new highs. Daniel saying brokers need to put flags on stocks that can't be traded. That is a really good idea. It sucks having to hit buy to know. Here's what I would say. Put a limit order way under the price. If it accepts your limit order, that means you'll be able to buy it in the moment. If it rejects that limit order, that means it's restricted. You never actually have to buy or get close. You could just put out a stink bid, you could call it, like a way, way lower bid. That's what I do anyway. Maybe there is a better way, and I don't know. That's possible, but that's the way I've been doing it. SanDisk, amazing move. It went green. So I said yesterday on the call while we were watching SanDisk trade down, I said this would be wild if this thing goes green, down 10%, swings around, and then goes green by 10%. We're up 2%. We're almost there. Almost there.
And I don't think I even got the print I was looking for on their earnings because, I didn't want to buy it where I thought it would go, but it didn't even get there. I was looking for 900 for support and didn't get anywhere near there.
You sober traders here, another move higher.
Sober, strong volume. That's good to see. Clorox got hammered.
That's CLX, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those consumer staples. Pounded, down 8.5%.
Looks like Q is still trying to turn around. It's still trying to hold that 65 EMA. Need to see this thing come back up through VWAP soon, though. If it's going to, climb up to some higher prints. Looks like is Bitcoin coming back up?
Bitcoin is at the highs of the day, 78,940 on the futures.
Okay, well, there's a risk on indicator. We do seem to be running into some resistance here about 78.5.
Yeah, LWLG is a monster, Kath.
Intel wants 100, and then Oracle, please. Oracle with another recovery. So it looks like it's getting some support from the 20-day SMA. Really need to see this thing get back above and hold 180, in my opinion, because I think that we're in a bit of a back and forth, like a little bit of a chop zone, and I would want to see it hold 180. It would give me a little bit more confidence that we're turning around here. And the thing when it comes to Oracle is that there's so many things that can go wrong, but if everything goes right, this is going to be fantastic.
Good stuff there on Oracle. New highs for the SPY, 723 coming.
Teradyne.
Man, it sucks to be a bear. Man, it must suck.
You tell me. Bears fan.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sports team. That's not easy either, to be quite honest with you. But, yeah, man, oh, man.
Oh, wow. Look at that move down in ACAN. So it was coming up. We had the unhalt. We popped up to what is this? 66.77. Turned around, lost all these moving averages. We're getting some support from the 200 EMA right now. And TMC, that's lost at 65 EMA.
Here's your AGH, Zach. This is a drone play, right? Aureus Greenway. Public golf course clubs, never mind.
Looks like MRAM cooling a bit. Would like to see if this area that it's in right now, the price can hold up. Because if it does, like let's say maybe the next 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, hold this area, we could see it try and come back up and go higher.
What's
that?
I'm trying to figure out this news here.
With what? Which company?
Zach is telling me that AGH is a Trump-backed weapons play. It's a golf course. It's a holdings that owns and operates public golf courses. But in the newsfeed here, it has AGH and Unusual Machines securing a $5 million order for a counter UAS system.
Well, a lot of these deals do get made on golf courses. So I'm just kidding.
No, but
okay.
Forest Greenway closes a $50 million.
I got the news for you. Greenway Holdings is merging with PowerUs.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I was just reading through here.
Okay. So yeah, they developed the Guardian 1, which is a low-cost, high-speed interception platform for drone defense, and is collaborating with Digital Force Technologies for advanced integrated kinetic kill chain solutions. So from golf to guns, from drives to drones.
This is an interesting one, Zach. I'm sorry it took me a while to read through it there, but that is interesting nonetheless. And the market, guys. Oh, my heavens. Did we get a new crude dropping? Look at this push on SPY. 724.
Yeah, I don't see a headline that's causing things to rise.
ExxonMobil CEO Darren Woods estimate 1 to 2 months tops for normal flows to resume after the Strait is open.
Okay. I know that everything was all finished.
Yeah, I don't know that that's what's popping at 13. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking here. This is a mighty move here.
Speaking of mighty moves, Teradyne through 350. And where is it? There we go. And MRAM also looking pretty good too. Volume's a little low, but it's technically moving in the way that we've been waiting for. Need to see this move back up to the highs, 2269.
Liberate is saying Anne-Marie said on the Moneyball morning that yesterday's rally was largely forced buying. I would agree with Anne-Marie. End of month window dressing. Mm-hmm. We expected the same thing today with new inflows because it's the first of the month. We'll follow up with Anne-Marie. We'll ask her about that, Libertus. We'll ask her about that today.
I still think that we're going to probably see some selling as we go into this weekend.
Chicago Realtor, happy Friday to you. Ryan in 13, do you think Netflix has put in a bottom at 90? I don't. No, they have a content problem.
Let me look here.
That's something we've been talking about for a long time. My view has not changed.
You mean like a recent bottom? No, I don't think so. I mean, we're having trouble getting it back above the 50 and the 500-day SMAs. This might even represent a bit of a turnaround spot here. We'll see. But to what Ryan was just saying, no, I don't think that we're bottomed yet. They still have a content problem. A lot of their subscribers are really sour at the idea of them raising their subscription fees while having a lack of content. And then here's a real big thing that I think is putting a bad taste in their mouths. They raised the subscription fee, and then they started doing share buybacks. When subscribers catch wind of that, I don't think it sits well with them. So I think they've got several problems, but yes, big content problem, the lack of it.
Yeah. Mo, take care of yourself, man. Enjoy your weekend.
Take care. And here we go with MRAM. This is, well, it was moving up there slightly. Now it seems like something has hit it. Push it back down to VWAP. Teradyne still climbing. Now 352.09 is the high. ACAN trying to push back up beyond the session highs. So watching 70 area as resistance. Looks like Q.
ACAN.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say this ACAN move through the VWAP actually looks all right, but I just, that stock is so extended.
Yeah, Q is trying to turn around here. It's been, back and forth, but over and under this 65 EMA, coming up to test the VWAP here. Don't know if it'll get rejected, but if it moves through it, we might see some recovery here in Q.
SPY is continuing to push higher here. Oil is continuing to slip.
Which is interesting because we've been talking recently about some discrepancies in what the paper oil prices have been and what the actual delivery prices have been. Manufacturing prices for April higher than the estimates. PMI is lower than the estimates. Employment is lower than the estimates. Oh, I know you wanted to reject, Lion. I know you want that thing to get hammered. But it is getting some. It did just tap the VWAP here, at least the VWAP I've got, and it doesn't look like volume's really expanding that much at the moment. Maybe that changes. So ACAN went near the session high, coming back in now.
Apple 285. We are getting ready to test new all-time highs here on Apple. In fact, we might have already done it. Previous all-time high, 284.73. That is new all-time highs for Apple, folks. 285.45, your all-time high print.
Okay. Now, I need to double check something here because I thought we had a conversation, you and me, about the next. Okay, we're not quite there yet. Because I was like, okay, at what price do we need Google to be in order for this to be more valuable than NVIDIA? We're not too far away. I think we're like, 500 billion away. I know that doesn't, I know it sounds like a lot more than I'm, kind of displaying it as, but they're pretty close in valuation now. I think NVIDIA was like, 5.1 trillion and Google is now enjoying a market cap of 4.6.
JD, I do not see that. 288.62. I do not see that. Was that from yesterday on Apple? Let me see. Did I just...
NBIS up 8%, says dead AI. Q getting rejected. Nokia new high. Enforcement loves gold. NTC almost 100. Let's look at NTC. Still playing.
Tell you what, this gold daily chart looks like it's got more room to the downside. I know it's probably not a popular opinion, but
Intel's going to still need to cool at some point, but I still think it can go higher. We talked about the new process that they're really leaning into, that directed self-assembly. I'm very curious to see if that's going to do what they expect.
Jay saying oil drone defense all week. What's that telling you? That's telling me SPY higher is what that's telling me. And that is what we're seeing here. 725 looks like the target there on the SPY. Oh, doctor.
I believe the year-end NVIDIA valuation would be much higher. Probably, but relative to Google is more about what I'm getting at here. We could all I'm saying is that we could see Google end up taking the top spot as most valuable company from NVIDIA. Is what all I'm saying. I'm not saying NVIDIA is going to not be as higher than it is. I'm just saying I think we could see Google being the top company. It still has a ways to go, but it's looking pretty good. Bed Bath and Beyond, what a day!
Is that going up?
I mean, it is. It's only up like 10%, but it popped out of the gate, cooled, and then went higher. What is SPY doing now? 724, man. We did talk about how this was looking like it was going to be higher today. I didn't think it was going to just keep going like this. I feel like this needs to come back in, but not showing any signs of that yet.
Which one are you looking at? Sorry.
I was just looking at SPY.
Okay, I was trying to resolve a discrepancy with the price of Apple there with JD. JD, was that in the extended session?
Did you say that Apple has new all-time highs?
I said it, but JD challenged it.
Yeah, it's not. The all-time high is 288.62.
Yeah. Okay. No, you were right about that. I'm sorry, my man. I don't know why.
Right. But the price action over the past.
Good call, JD. Sorry.
The price action over the past 6 months is with Apple is very interesting. Looks like we've got could be looking at this double bottom. We could have that that current all-time high be a breakout spot. But I think I had some concerns about what they were saying about the rising costs and how they were having some supply chain issues, but they still expect that their June quarter, even though it's a month, they expect their June quarter revenue to grow 17% year over year. I don't know. I think the Greater China revenue looked like that was lower quarter over quarter, though. What's my take on GCT?
ACAN through the VWAP. See if it goes to 70. GCT was the ticker, 13?
Yeah, Giga Cloud. Payments and logistics tools, huh? Give me a second. Let me look at this real quick here. I don't think I think I may have seen this before, but I just haven't dove too much into it. So this has been around since 22. Looks like we're coming up to that to 60. This seems like we're headed in that direction. I don't know enough about this company, but just looking at the chart, it looks like 60 is the desired spot that this price is trying to get towards. Give me a second here, see if I could see anything else. Doing a nice job of riding the 20-week SMA.
Jimmy, right? Jimmy, yep. Here are the settings that I use for the scanner every single day. I will just put them on screen here so you can see what they are. That first value there in volume is 600,000, so 600K. as the minimum. That's for liquidity. These are the filters that I use on the scanner. Go ahead and screenshot it.
I think that's right, Jay. I think we're going to see some of these chip names maybe have some of their prices go under pressure. And another thing too, if inflation is coming back, and I know that we're still a ways away from this potentially happening, but if rate raises are going to be on the table, I think that could scare a lot of investors back into the Mag 7 as a flight to safety. In which case the market would continue higher, and it would also help increase the disposable income for older folks because their interest rates would be, seeing with how they're banking, or they're getting interest paid to them, they'd be have more disposable income from that. So just something we've seen this before, like a few years ago. So something that I've just been thinking about if we do see inflation come back up again.
Nokia still at the highs. TLIH also at the highs. That actually looks like it might break and go higher. You're welcome, Jimmy.
And as far as Giga Cloud goes, GCT, I think one of the things that I'd be watching is for the price to continue to ride this 20-week SMA. If we start to have several closes underneath that moving average, I think that's going to be the signal that this is coming in some more. That's just the way it looks to me. This 20-week SMA, I think that's the indicator to keep an eye on. Rates are going up. That's been some of the news I've been hearing from folks that they expect that. ACAN half 72.4. Did that go past 70? Look at ACAN here. It sure did. Let me look and see. That must have been fast. It did. Okay, so it halted. I wonder if we sell out of the halt.
Intel ripping, going for 100, folks, on Intel.
Yeah.
What a move. SPY looking like it's going to try and push higher again.
So so Q did end up turning around. Hopefully you're taking your gains line. This did come back above VWAP. It's trying to hold it right now. I don't know if it will, but it's trying. Teradyne had a nasty little knife there, but it's getting support from the VWAP and the 65 EMA. TMC hasn't really done a whole lot except go down. That's currently getting support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. It looks like we're still waiting on MRAM to see if it can clear the highs of 269 it put in earlier this morning. So there's hard at VWAP in Q. Okay.
Per to the highs. Lots of Tesla call flow as that trades up to the highs. Yeah, big volume in oil is right, Chris. That's now sub 100.
So Meta is getting some support. It's trying to hold above 600.
We talked about that being a level that it actually needed to hold.
Yeah. Yesterday we came down and tested that. We haven't hit it today. Got pretty close, but we haven't hit it today. Looks to me like that's still going to be the level. And if we end up losing that, we were talking about how this looks like it could go to 520, 525.
Oh, BBBY. This is coming back, but man, when you put it in perspective of that dump that it did on Tuesday, oh man.
Yeah, and Jay, I think the signal was earnings from Thursday night when you had Google coming out with and dropping this massive 800% growth and saying, hey, we could have been higher, but the big hang up for us is the lack of compute. That's our constraint. Let's keep making chips. These companies need them. Yeah, Laura, I think this is speaking to what we were saying earlier. Physical oil transactions are now 22% higher than the Wall Street paper price. Nothing in this market is real.
We talked about that last night, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Take a look at 8XTX started trading in April 24th. I think didn't we look at this one at one point, but not today, but at one point. Let me see here.
TIRX or AXTX?
AXTX, yep.
AXTX.
Oh, this is AXTI daily ETF. So this is a leveraged ETF for AXTI. And AXTI, oops, I fingered that right there. This is a semiconductor company. So they make wafers. And
Nice job, Chris, on cashing that gold long. Boom, boom, boom.
With AXTI, this price action that we're seeing here this morning looks like it's trying to hold the $86 level and turn around and push back up towards 100. We'll see if that ends up happening, but that's what the price action this morning looks like it's doing. Looks like it wants higher. It needs to recapture VWAP. So if we do turn around here, we need to get back above 89.
Westcap says, I'm glad I started investing in Bitcoin when it was 40K and I average in every month. That's pretty good. I started when it was 6,400, but I didn't average in every month. I just let my position run. Got told every week that I was crazy to not sell it and that it was going to zero and it was a fraud and this and that. Turned it into a down payment on a car.
I do like MDT. I don't have as much of it as I used to. This did have a golden cross a death cross earlier this month. But it is down at an interesting spot. $80 is a support level, so we'll see if this holds up here. Let's see what else we get in here. So ACAN unhalted, popped up to 75 and came back in. We're under 70 again.
Nokia new highs.
Metals company getting support from the 200 EMA. It looks like it's trying to turn around. We'll see if it can continue higher as it approaches the 65 EMA. Q still dealing with VWAP.
Sound. This did have a nice move. Was it Dan that mentioned this earlier? Dan, I'm sorry I didn't go to it. Someone mentioned this earlier here today. I'm sorry I missed it. Sound had actually a nice move. Now it gave up the VWAP on the way back down. So maybe if it could recapture that, something else here. But this was a good move here.
This is a little interesting. You see the price action over the past, pretty much this year for Sound on a daily chart. What does that look like to you?
This looks like a inverse head and shoulders to me, 13.
It does to me too, with a potential neckline around 9. This looks like it could be turning around. If this, if we're going to get a resolution of this, let's see how far this goes. If we're going to use 9, this might climb up to, this could see maybe, $12 again on that resolution of the inverse head and shoulders, maybe even higher. But for that, just based on that measurement there, that's how high it looks like it could climb, which would take it up to a little bit higher than the 200-day SMA. I don't know what it's going to cause it to go. It might be the earnings that are coming up next week, or it might run into earnings too. There's also the possibility of a short squeeze. It's got 38% of the float shorted and almost 7.5 days to cover. That fits our parameters.
Yep.
So this is interesting. Thank you for bringing this up because we have several things that could cause this to move significantly. Upcoming earnings, high short interest, high days to cover. It seems like it's missing a piece of news. And I guess the only thing that would give me pause is the size of the float. Very large float, 385 million shares, but that's also going to contribute to the days to cover. So we could see a squeeze here in town now. Well, I won't say we couldn't.
Thanks for bringing it up, Dan. I'm sorry I didn't get to it earlier.
Lithium is up. One of the things that we've been seeing with this whole oil shock is a lot of move to solar panels and batteries and renewables. So I think that's one of the reasons why those materials are up. In addition to a lot of other rare earths and minerals that are needed for electrification, but I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing lithium up. What company were you looking at specifically?
5 tabs to find one trade.
Sober is listed as a liquid only. Okay.
NVD. So the inverse 2x NVD, the inverse NVIDIA ETF, looking like that's going to try and roll higher here. NVIDIA gave up 200. So I suppose that's fairly interesting.
Who's being asked levels for sober? I mean, we could be. I think we may have hit one of the very important ones earlier this morning. Let's see, the high that we had was 126. If you look at a daily chart and you go back over to the November and December price action from last year, there was support there, and it was support until we lost it late January. So I think that area I'd be keeping an eye on for resistance. If not right there, then 150. Because you can see that once we lost that area and we tried to come back up, there was a rejection at 148, just shy of 150 on February 2nd. So I think that area up there is where I'd be looking at for resistance.
Brent, take care of yourself. Have a great weekend.
Take care, Brent. And I think that swing position in Pfizer ahead of their earnings.
I'll let 13 handle that. I cannot morally own that company.
I think it's been kind of in the doghouse for a while, a couple of years. Let me look at a larger time frame here. It might. I could see it going to 30, but I don't know that we're going to move a whole lot higher in the near term. There are several scenarios I could see with this. Maybe we do go a little bit higher in the closer to 30 in the near term, maybe off those earnings. But I don't know if the earnings are going to provide enough to have it go a whole lot higher. There's also the 200-week SMA up at 32 that if we do move past 30 could also provide some resistance. So my view is that there's probably upside, but limited upside. I don't know what to expect out of Pfizer's earnings, but I think $30 really does stand out as a resistance level. Good morning, Ken. What do we think about NVIDIA? I think their chips are still in demand.
Roblox. So we talked earlier about the potential trade here for Roblox. We never actually got a clean back test of the breakout to the upside. It did come back to the 9 EMA held and looks like it's trying to go higher. So your dead cat bounce seems to be in play here today. Didn't get the nice clean trade setup that we were hoping for.
I'd be curious to see if NVIDIA can hold 198. If we lose that 198, we could come down under 190. That's my thought there on NVIDIA for the near term.
Now, NVIDIA not participating in today's rally. That's a good mention here by Dead AI. Noticeably absent. And the NASDAQ was lower. That went red-green with a authority and then went to the highs. And NVIDIA is just like, no, we'll sit here. Soon $80 on oil. That would be great, debt. Sure hope so. Hopefully 60 after that.
I guess what we're just kind of shrugging this whole thing off now.
I just said what I was hoping for. I want gas to be cheaper.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just, kind of getting an understanding of why energy prices are going down.
Well, I think that so there was the only news 13 was that there was another proposal sent by Iran today. That's
right.
That's what initially said. Now I understand. I'm with you. It's a proposal. Like, let's all calm down. So maybe something gets rejected over the weekend and we find ourselves right back at square one on Monday. Totally possible. Not gonna dispute that. But as far as trying to explain what's going on here, remember the administration has been saying that Iran is effectively lost this. I understand that they're still holding out, but they are effectively getting spanked in this little conflict. And I think that the market is probably sniffing out that this thing is closer to being over. Now, the ExxonMobil CEO comments today about oil really not taking all that long to come back to normal once the strait is open, probably also weighing on that. But to your point, there's probably still a wait and see effect on that too. So maybe you're setting up for a pullback in the market with this move.
I just want something a little bit more concrete.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. So do I. So do I. I'm just trying to explain the market movement today.
And I understand that, Richard. We saw UAE left OPEC, so what it can do is create more volatility. But yes, they're unrestricted by any agreements with OPEC now, so that's good. But yeah, I would want to see some more concrete news. And we might get some more of that, throughout the day, or we'll get it when the markets close, because that tends to be a time when important things like that get announced. MRAM almost back up to the session highs. ACAN continuing higher. I'm still curious to see if we're going to end up
look at this MRAM
closing above that resistance area I was looking at here for ACAN. Still pushing shorts out of the way. And EKS, I do think Intel wants 100. I don't, Jay, I'm there with you. I don't. We'll go with the bold call, but I don't think it. I think I'm right there with you. Google definitely, Amazon maybe, Apple. I can see that. I'm thinking that Turnus is going to be pretty good on the innovation side. It's something I think that Apple's needed for a long time as a technology guy that's going to get their customer base gassed up about the next big product. Turnus seems like that could be the guy. We'll see.
We're hoping for that. That's for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see what he's got. They really need to. I think they need to lean heavily into wearables, and because it seems like we're moving into this this whole health, this higher healthiness era, especially among the younger generations.
Do you think that the number of wearables increases? Like, because for right now, it's basically glasses and a watch. Maybe you consider AirPods a wearable. I don't know. Maybe a fitness tracker. Do you think this expands into maybe other articles?
Yeah. Jackets, shoes. I mean, shit, we used to put lights in our shoes.
Yeah, I know. LA lights, remember those?
Yeah.
I had those. JJ, if Iran lost, why is oil 110? Well, it's 100 actually. It's not 110. And as far as the disconnection between that and the price, we've been saying for a while that it's going to take longer for the for oil to move down because of the strait. But as Jay is outlining here, I mean, Iran is getting smoked in this. It's not close, guys. It's not close.
It's a whole
just getting started. No,
it's a whole shift in supply chains. You know, for one, you had the Strait of Hormuz being blocked, and that sent that's really the big thing that sent oil prices higher. It was all the conflict that was happening through that strait. The fact that Iran was getting hit, we don't get oil, and a lot of countries don't get oil from Iran. It's really just one country, which is probably the country that's still propping up the current regime, China. So that's likely the reason why you're seeing all that happen still, is because it's Iran. Yes, they're absolutely hammered down, but they're being propped up.
Defense, or at least the drone names, still coming in.
Why do you need a light on your shoes? No, in your shoes. Remember, there's a long time ago they had these LA lights. It was a whole gimmick that was like Nike. Did Nike do that? The Nike shoes that did that?
No, LA wasn't that the brand LA Lights?
Was it? I thought Nike did it too.
I'll look that up. Dr. Manred, it's not about need. It turns out it's actually about wants.
Well,
I was a kid and I saw shoes that lit up. I wanted.
Yeah, marketing makes you think you need
it. That's a good way of putting it.
And then there's also the damage to the info. Yeah, so like Lyon was saying, there's a lot of damage to the oil infrastructure there too. Now destroying all our bases. I think that's
so. LA Lights were from a company called LA Gear. It's a Los Angeles inspired brand celebrating 42 years of quality footwear.
Okay.
I had a pair. I laugh about it now, but I had a pair.
But anyway, yeah. If we're gonna
pass, isn't it, guys?
if we're gonna buy shoes with lights in them, and they weren't even for seeing in the dark. Although that would have been cool if you just clicked your heels and you have flashlights on your toes. But yeah,
they had like a big red LED block on the back heel.
Right, but I don't walk backwards. So
yeah, neither do I. That's for the people you're leaving in the dust. Oh my God, Anne Marie, I am so sorry. Anne Marie's probably sitting back there like, what the hell's going on? We're talking about LA Lights. We blew right through the stop. Anne Marie, okay, 13.
See what happens when you're having fun.
I told you we were going to have fun on a Friday. 13 closing words for the group.
Hey, have fun with Anne Marie, folks. I got to get out of here because I've been chumming up with y'all too long. So enjoy the moves here in the market today. I'll see y'all on Monday. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.
Take care, 13. Good stuff. We'll see you Monday. All right, 13's departure leaves room for the overdue Anne Marie. Let's bring her on. Anne Marie, there you go. I'm sorry. I
don't mind at all.
My producer is probably already on the first tee box. I just went right through it there.
I don't mind at all. I really, really don't.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. I was actually trying to get a scan that looked at all the earnings that we've had over the last, 2-3 days to see where we could focus. But do you have a strategy do you have something that you want to look at, or should I just go through what it is that I think we ought to peek at?
Well, first of all, Lion says, Ryan forgetting Anne Marie is like me forgetting my son at school. Okay. Now, look, as far as
Ryan left his mom at school. That's me.
As far as stocks, I definitely think that, we could always, I guess you could consider this a cop out. We could always look at Apple. They just reported earnings. Yes. They're just shy of all-time highs. Yes. Maybe there's a possible trade on a move to and through all-time highs. SanDisk has been huge. That pulled back. That went great. Pulled back and went green already. Maybe that happened too fast. I would say Apple for sure, but before we go to the second one, chat, let me know if there are any stocks that you would like Anne Marie to take a look at and perhaps set up a trade today.
All right, so let me get a couple of these to see what we've got going on, and then let me tell you a little bit about what's happening technically. So I think the last time I was on, I told you about Goldman sending the letter out uh, about CTAs being pretty much full bore moved into the flow of the trades, right? So they moved all the way up. And now, instead of uh, real flow based on positioning, it's more mechanical and systematic. So yesterday, very interestingly, I'll put the SPY here. Yesterday, the SPY breached the call wall. It might be better for us to look at the SPX. So when you look at what happened yesterday, we had this formation at about 7170 or so in the SPX, and that was where the call wall was. We blew through the call wall, and so here's what happens with dealer positioning. We like to call them market makers.
Mhm.
Dealer positioning says the following: hey, I've sold all of these calls. Now they're breaching that space and moving ahead of it. What does that mean? Well, that means I'm now upside down on those calls. And the longer it goes, the worse my P&L looks from an expansion zone. So when traders break a call wall and try to pull back and move forward and try to pull back and move forward and try to pull back and then rocket out, it's telling you, holy cow, they are forced to buy. So yesterday was the beginning of a short squeeze. So let's look at it on SPY, and then we're going to go to a 30-minute formation, and we're going to see what happened yesterday at the breach of the call wall at 7:15. They came in and fought over it for 2 hours. And then at about 1 o'clock, they said, boom, I'm out of here. And all of this is short covering. So now the question is, what happens in the overnight? Well, the people who want to go back short are saying, okay, I'm going to keep shorting the highs. I'm going to keep shorting the highs. But technical flow, which we've got our little CTA flow accelerator here, telling us that the buying is continuing. And we had an MOC surge, a market on close surge, that was 330% higher than the 3 p.m. candlestick. Dramatic. So that was telling us, as long as we stayed above the 330 high candle of yesterday, we're going to move forward into the expansion zones. So we are going to hit exhaustion. When becomes the question. When are we going to hit exhaustion? And to me, I wouldn't be surprised if it was today, but it could also be Monday. We have forced pension flows, outflows, I think 38 billion or something. Not really dramatic in terms of the big thing, but there are some selling flows. And so that should pull price action back into the region that we fought the breakout through. And that's around the 718 area. So I believe what we have as upward flow is going to pull back. That being said, we've got a lot of bullish motion ahead of us. So first, let's take a look at Apple. Sorry about that sidetrack right there.
I think that's a good setup.
I believe, I appreciate you. I believe Apple is going to reject its all-time high. And here it is. So what we did was build these extension bars that take the highest volume events that are associated with earnings, and we say, okay, let's measure them out and see how far they go. And the top of the earnings high is right at the top of the prior extension from 2 earnings ago. So My suspicion is that it pulls all the way back, fills the gap, and then stays in the formation. Yes, Apple said a lot of lovely things, but at the end of the day, I still think it's a company that is struggling with innovation. And there's a lot of new competition coming out for them. So if you believe, listen, Emery, I think you're full of crap. I think this is going up. Hey, it's always a valid thing, right? You got to go. What if I'm wrong? This price will not lose 278. It'll hold it because it's above this from 2 earnings ago. And it pulls across old resistance, becomes new support. It's going to hold 278. If it loses 278, we got a problem. So my thought is, if you, that's only $5 away. If you're into it and you think it's got upward flow, knock yourself out. 295 would be the next extension zone. So you could easily do a 285, 295 spread. So let's do that. Let's go to Apple. Again, my thought is you're going to be in great shape if you give it time. But if you're expecting continuation of price flows without the fade, which Goldman is telling us, listen, if these CTAs hold above this area for 48 hours or more, new buyers are going to come in. That's going to give us upward flow. If they can't hold it for 48 hours, we're going to rotate right back down into the range. So we're sitting in this space where we go, maybe I ought to wait until Monday to put this position on. But by Monday, you should know. And so if you think, hey, it's going to move to the upside, 285, 295 spread. Oh, for goodness sakes.
I do that all the time, actually. Misclick the wrong one all the time.
Yes. 285 to 295. It's only, I don't think it's that expensive. It's 292. So it's a third of the spread, but you might offset it and say, okay, there's 15,000 up here. Maybe I go 270 to 260 and offset part of that if I'm very bullish. So you can have bullish upside flow on the call side and use part of the short puts to pay for the acceleration to the upside. I would say pump the brakes, keep this in your mind until Monday, right? Oops, sorry, wrong one. I think I need to make these pictures a little bigger, don't I?
It's just the text when you increase the size, I think.
Let's try that one.
Oh, they are a little bit bigger.
Yeah, a little bit better. A little bit better. So you can do that. If you're like me and you're waiting for the fade, I would look for an exhaustion event, and that would be, let's look at a 30-minute chart and see what that tells me. I would be looking for a breakdown of the 930 candle low at 278. If it pulls back and then holds above that zone, I can't take a short. But if it loses that edge and pulls back, but it can't stay up there and ends up below, I think it rotates down into that 270. So that's my thought in this space. It has clear bullish bias, but it is at the top of range. I heard Liz Ann Saunders yesterday, and she said, hey, things always look the absolute best when they're at the top because that's how they look. So this is what we're sitting. And, look at, the MOC here is huge for Apple. It's just a tremendous amount. Okay, so let's look at SanDisk.
And then after that, I would like to do Reddit. That was a request from Daniel from the group here.
Perfect. Wonderful. So if we take a look at SanDisk, man, what a beast. Okay. So that's your Slack, right? Not mine.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No, I don't care. I
do,
don't care.
though.
I just want to make sure that you're not sending me a note. I'm like, wait,
Nope.
do I need to see that?
I would just say it.
So, okay, there you go. All right. So here's the last earnings. Expansion zones from the last earnings puts us into this earnings, and all we've done is hold our higher low breakouts. Now we're at the top of the range. Listen, we do need the chips. The question is the cart ahead of the horse right here in terms of the speed of motion, right? And so, yes, it's a buy zone. Yes, it looks really good. When did they report? Was it before earnings? Before the market or after the market? It's after market close yesterday. So we have to see how this entire day closes to figure out where we want to go with this chart. But to be sure, if you're looking for something where you go, well, I'd love to go long, but I would say go out into June and sell yourself the 800 790 puts, right? You get $2, and then you can go down and look for where they're positioned. There's really nobody there. This is interesting, isn't it? All that bullish flow and nothing sitting in June. Let's look at July. That looks a little sketch. Let's see if the flow shifts in September due to seasonality. Yep, I could see it building, but still not significant. All right, so let's say you go to June or wherever it is. If you like June, your thought would be, hey, I wanted to go to 1150. Wow, that's almost $100. 1150 to 1180. That's $30. So you might just go 1150 to 1160, $1,000 of upside. You total, if you sell the put for June and move this out of the way, and you take a credit, you take that credit and then you buy the 1150, 1160 call, it's going to cost you, $1.50 for $1,000 of upside, right? I mean, if it fades, you're right down there at the baseline of support for the first pass. And then it goes all the way to 650 if it loses 820. So, I mean, I like that. My thought is everything feels really hot. I mean,
I feel that. Yeah.
it's running hot. And so you want to chase if flow is sitting there, but flow can change in a day. And that is the big thing to think about in terms of broad market movement. We've started running so much faster than we have in prior days, meaning times, because these CTAs are just moving faster and faster. They're in and out instead of monthly, quarterly flows. They're going in these 3-week cycles. Sometimes they're going in a week and out. And so we have to stare that down. So let's take a look This one is suggesting a breakout watch. Notice, I got to tell you, these earnings setups are so pretty. Take a look at this. All the way sideways here, running into this whole region. And then where's the break? Right up over this edge, right? So these guys reported after the close yesterday. They still have to fill this, but here's the thing. If they open on Monday above 167, it's probably buy into 178. That's the next target zone. You want to keep it? Great. You know, I have no idea how Reddit generates income.
Ads, isn't it?
I don't know. You know, I just go there for recipes.
Oh, do you? How are the recipes?
Some of them are really good. Some of them are really good.
I
But
take it you don't spend much time on the forums there.
dear Lord, no. I would lose my mind. But
Oh, and
I
I'm
do
sorry.
use chat. I do
So
use chat.
I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
Most of their money is from advertising. I apologize. They also have data licensing and premium subscriptions, which I did not
Oh,
know about.
I
So it's more
didn't
than
know
just
about that
advertising.
either. I didn't know about that either. I do use chat to tell me what the high flows are.
Okay.
I use chat
Cool.
to tell me, hey, what are they, which stocks are they talking about? Right. So
Yeah.
I'm able to see that sort of
Where's
flow.
the attention? Where are the eyeballs?
Exactly. Exactly. Because, you know, people have been shrugging off the strength of the retail customer, the retail trader for a long time. And of course, we see the retail traders building strength in terms of how to use the market. It's subscriptions like ours that give them an edge,
That's
that
right.
allow them to actually be performing better than the smart money if they have been using the signals properly. So
Amen to that.
that is the case. Now, if per happenstance we open or we close below the low of this earnings candle here at 156, we've got ourselves a potential shorting action into 146, something like that. And so my thought is let the candle close. I mean, they're just getting their wiggles in terms of what they want to see during the day. So let them position, and then you'll know. Very interestingly, it is only, 8 minutes of 11, but the volume flow is only 1.7 of the average. And so it's a little bit higher, but nothing like last earnings or the days coming into last earnings. That was significant volume drift. So that's what we're seeing from there. If I were a betting man, I would say it'll pull back, but I did not read the earnings report, so I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at Qualcomm since
Oh,
we're
nice. Okay. Earnings earlier this
all
week.
chippy. Okay, perfect. All right. So this is a traditional setup when we have an earnings candle and the day after is an inside event, or days after are inside events from the open and the close. You're going to see it over here. What you want to wait for is a day close either underneath the low, and we'll put an alert there, or above the high. And that is going to signal your break. If it closes below, it's a short. If it closes above, it's a long into the next target, which looks like about 210. Super easy. to trade if your mindset says, you know what, I'm bullish or I'm bearish. Then, you can use the top of the box and trade down. Or if you're bullish, you can use the bottom of the box and trade up. But there's no trade right here from an earnings perspective. Notice it ran about 5 days down into the target area below, and then came right back up into the top of that earnings box and just danced around there for a while before it rotated over. So you can see that dip buying is going to be great for you if you're long, and spike selling is going to be great for you if you're short, especially if they spend a few days inside of this formation, right? Notice these guys, I mean, they will, excuse me, once they run out and they close a candle body, you use the bottom of the candle body as support, and then what you want to do is draw Fibonacci at the base of that candlestick, and then, hello, come on, Sally. And then just use the 100% as your target and get out, especially if you're in counter trend motion, right? Notice price action moving down, it bounces, almost fills the gap, but it's really what I've noticed. And I asked Chat, listen, Chat GPT is way better than Claude right now. The newest
Really?
version of Chat GPT. Listen, it coded for me all night long until I used up all my tokens. And they said, hey, listen, you have to upgrade to the 199 version if you want any more information, or come back to us in 2 days.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, great. But never made a mistake on a single piece of code. I was shocked. Not
Okay.
one single piece of code. I was flabbergasted because I use
Okay,
Gemini
interesting.
and it makes all kinds of mistakes all the time. But this new version of Chat is rock star good. So, anyways, that's what I think about what's going on with Qualcomm. You can choose an at the money spread. Don't give yourself too much time, 15, 20 days, maybe. But the volume here tells you it's important, and they're going to chop around, and when they break, they're going to move. 10 days is probably as long as you need to stay in there, whatever direction they go in, so you can hit your targets.
Okay. Awesome on Qualcomm. We got 3 minutes left. Anything else you want to cover? I give you back the other minutes, but we are going to go to Sandy.
Oh, no. Hey, listen, I know that a lot of us are trading, and we've got maybe the need to trade, feeling like we're trading behind the curve, or maybe with a little tension in our bodies. If you feel like that, step back, take a breath, and then say, what's my goal? My goal is to get in when I can see flow in my favor, and I'm going to trade until flow stops being in my favor. If you look at it as simply as that, and you look at your 330 closing candle on any chart that you really want to take a look at, you're going to see those big volume spikes. They're going to tell you where everybody's positioned, and it's going to give you a shot at saying, okay, as long as it holds this low, I'm going to stay long, because the market is in an expansion zone that is mechanical rather than strategically formed. And so they're going to run until they break.
Okay. All right. AM is the best. There you go, Anne-Marie. Really good stuff here today, as always. And what are you coding? Just really quick. The chat wants to know what you were coding, if you're willing to share.
Oh, today I was coding these extensions to see how well they held. I was coding the commodity trading advisors acceleration flow.
Mhm.
I was coding market on close code, telling me what projections look like, and then just thinking about ideas that say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What might be fun for Benzinga Pro members is a cool session. Maybe I could get invited to your 4 p.m. thing
Yeah, the
one day,
happy hour one and go over
and
that.
and we can go over how to talk to chat in terms of your ideas and how to code it out.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's work on that sometime because I actually did a very quick run through on some of the indicators that I made a while back, but I think we should definitely set that up. Well, maybe even for next week we'll set that up. I think
Yeah,
that'd be great.
absolutely.
I think that'd be absolutely
Absolutely.
great. All right,
All right, sounds good.
Anne-Marie, really, really good stuff and a great idea. As per usual, do me a favor and enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week, all right?
Thank you. See you then.
All right,
Bye.
that is Anne-Marie Baiynd. Really good stuff. Anne-Marie's, I don't know why my camera is lagging so bad. Oh my gosh. I don't know why that's happening, but we're almost done here. We're going to bring on Sandra. Oop. We're going to bring on Sandra. Sandra, happy Friday. How you doing?
Happy Friday. Good. How about you?
I'm doing good. It is a Friday. We're having some fun here. We are at the weekend. What do you got coming up for us?
Well, let's take a look at Tesla and AMD and see where the tech stocks are going. And looks like VIX is down. The market's pumping, but I wonder what will happen this weekend. Who knows?
Okay, let's see. We're going to go through all of it. Trading Made Simple with Sandy starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Great day, almost the weekend here. And as you can see on Friday, a lot of times we end up pumping on Friday. Now, last Friday we pumped, and then all of a sudden on Monday we had a real positive day too. So definitely want to take your profits off the table with this conflict in Iran. You never know what the headline's going to be, but look at Market Watch right now on Thinkorswim. Look at Eli Lilly, Tesla, Amazon, Apple, having some good news on earnings, MU, INTC. And it looks like, the rest of the market, like industrials, energy, kind of just flat, huh? We even have some good names in information technology. Half of that sector is kind of flat as well, not really doing anything. So let's take a look at some individual charts. Why don't we take a look at Tesla and take a look and see what we got here. I'm on an hourly chart. Look at the VIX, guys. This is probably the lowest it's been since the conflict. And boy, it has taken a while to get here. So you can see that the VIX is at 1679, which is really low, being underneath that 20, right? 20 seems to be like the line in the sand. When we get above that 20, you start to see more fear, right, in the marketplace. And then we have oil. Oil's down today, which also gives a nice little pump to the market. We got gold is up as a hedge, as you can see. When we have institutions hedging positions with gold, it's a safety play. And then, of course, you got yields are up as well, which is not that great for the market. So you can kind of see we have a little bit of a mixed bag. My two really important ones is the VIX and oil these days, especially with the conflict. But Tesla right here looking nice. On a daily chart, we're actually breaking above the last pivot low. That's this dotted dashed red line. And you could see price came down, bounced off of the 20, and is now in its range. Now, if I kind of go out, you could see where the pivot high is. Now, once we actually break back into this zone, then this is its trading range. So if we're here, then you're right at a very important level for support. And if this actually holds, where could Tesla go? Well, it could go all the way up to the 498.83 area. I actually like this on a daily. Let's take a look at it on a 4-hour right now. On a 4-hour, you can see that momentum, right? We're on the CCI here. The momentum has crested above that zero line. We're almost at the 200. I do want to warn you that when we get to the 200 range, that typically is an overbought area, right? So as you can see, boy, just in this 4-hour candle, we came down, we hit that 20 on the 4-hour, did a little bounce, and now it's really looking nice for a setup here. And then let's take a look at an hourly. On an hourly, we have a buy signal, right, at 382.39. And we've already hit our first target at 386. We are getting close to our second target here, 391.55. Now, I typically have 3 targets up on the board because after 3 targets, these are all, by the way, based on ATR values, okay? So usually after about 3 targets on ATR, the ticker typically will want to pull back a bit and then consolidate for its next move. So something to take into consideration. From 391.55 though to 396, still a nice little pump if we could keep that going. You could see that momentum is above that 100 line. And as we got close to the 200, came back down and is still above the 100 line, which means that it still has momentum to continue higher. Really liking Tesla here. Let's see here. Why don't we, it already hit the 391.55, and you can kind of see that it's just kind of hanging in that area here. I'm going to say 391.60. If we can get above that, oh, it's already there. We're already in. I almost want to just take a debit spread for its next little pump here. If we wanted to do that, let me just go right over here. I'm going to take this 5 days out, get into a vertical debit spread. Don't know what the weekend is going to bring, right? And I think that's what's important to note here, is that a debit spread is actually, that's interesting. Why would Thinkorswim need my microphone? That's always concerning, right? Can you hear me in there? So, I don't know what the weekend will bring, and recognizing that chart analysis is really important, as well as like identifying your indicators that you like that coincide with one another. I hate putting a whole bunch of indicators on the chart that clash with each other, because it just makes making a decision so much harder. So getting into a quick debit spread for next week, I have basically, I'll set an alert for a 50% stop loss and looking for, 25 to 50% on a take profit. So just putting up a couple contracts for Tesla, really liking its setup here. We could get to about 396 easily, I think, if we continue to pump. And so this is looking really nice. If we can stay in this area and hold, I think we can go for a little bit more here. And then you can see on a shorter time frame how pretty this is actually. We have momentum hitting that 200 line, could stabilize before we go for the next target. All right, even the 30-minute looks good. I like it all the way around. You can see now that yields all of a sudden took a little bit of a downturn. So really, this is really looking real positive for the market, because if there was like 4 indicators that you would be watching for what's happening in Iran, it's going to be the VIX, oil, gold, and yields. And when you see 3 out of the 4, that is really bullish, right, for the market today. So this could actually get to that 396 level today, right? This could just be a day trade for today. And that wouldn't be a bad idea because you don't know what the weekend is going to bring for, you know, the Strait of Hormuz. There could be some rhetoric on Twitter or in the news. And so we really want to just make sure that we keep our finger on the pulse because we really don't know what's going to happen. By the way, a debit spread as well limits your risk. So really lowers your risk profile. And that typically is really good for this type of market environment where there's a lot of news events. All right. So we got Tesla on the board. What was another name we saw? We saw Eli Lilly. Let's take a look at Eli Lilly on a daily. Ooh, some gaps here. Wow. Really looking nice. Looks like they did well on earnings. They did. And getting a pump almost at that 200 level for momentum. Remember, that's typically an oversold. And you can kind of just look back and see what ends up happening when we get close to that 200. So this is a daily chart breaking way above that 20. And let's see, this first line of defense, this is right here, actually. Let's just draw a little trend line right here. You could see, I just want to show you this. You could see how we touched it and broke it and then came right back down, right? This is sometimes why, like when you do your automations, that you pad it just a little bit so that it doesn't just break the seal and then make a U-turn, right? And come right back down to do another retest. So you really want to pad a little bit to get that confirmation, right? So knowing this, right? Knowing this. So let's see, the high of this candle on a daily was 984. Wow, that's like $10 ahead here. 984.45. Could we do an automation that says, hey, if we break above that 984.45, and let's just make it 985, we're going longer, right? Could we do that? Absolutely. Because we know that it already hit a resistance level today. So this could come back down. And this would be another situation where I think a debit spread would be good as well, because we don't know if we're going to get a pullback here to maybe come and retest that 20 again. You could see that we broke above the 20, but we never came down to retest it. We just kept flying, right? Let's take a look at it on a smaller time frame. On a smaller time frame, you can see that we gapped above the 20, actually. We gapped above it, broke this trend line, this really kind of a bull flag here. We broke above it and we just keep on going. But you can see that, oh, wow. And if I remember that trend line that I made on a higher time frame, I'm going to remove that drawing and look what is right underneath it, guys. I love when the indicators work together. Remember to use indicators that support one another, not ones that completely are opposite from one another, because it just makes your decisions much harder to make. And then you become in this mode of analysis paralysis where you just can't even make a decision, right? So we want to make sure that we have simple indicators to help you make decisions. So here we have the last pivot high on a 4-hour. You could see that's exactly where my trend line was on a higher time frame. It literally surpassed that, came right back down. And if we take a look at our chart, just look left, you can actually see that we came and did a double top and came right back down. And so when we do a double top, right, that's an area of resistance. We need to break above that. And so let's see, it's still 984.45 is the high of this candle. We really need to break above that 985 area. Why don't we put a debit spread on for automation with this? Let's do it 7 days out. If it has some momentum, we could see this. Now, look at how expensive a straight call would be. Oh, we have a very wide bid and ask. I do not like that. Let me see this. Ooh, so sorry. Eli Lilly, this is probably a little bit better for stock shares. Why, guys? Well, because when you have this much of a spread, That's almost $3, right? $3 spread is just not good for option traders. This is really good for shares. So if I were you, and if you were looking into buying some shares here, wait till Eli Lilly gets above 985 for its next pump up, okay? Because right now as option traders, $3, that's $3 is not going to be good. That's $300, right? So not good for option traders. So just want to take a look at the contracts here. This 1,000 mark looks a little bit more narrow, but I just really don't like that. I see that I have the volume here, but I just really don't like that wide bid and spread. When I'm, as an option trader, I'm really looking for a spread that's less than 30 cents. If it's not less than 30 cents, then I'm not into it. The other thing I look for is that there's at least 100 contracts in the at the money that has at least 100 contracts in either volume or open interest. But this spread is way too wide, so I'm going to X-nay this one right now. But if you're looking at it for stock shares, guys, 985 is the line in the sand to go higher. And I think Eli Lilly can do it. They had some good earnings here, and there's no doubt that this looks like it's on a pump. Let's take a look at it on a, let's see, we're on a 4-hour. Let's look at it a 1 hour. On a 1 hour, really looking nice here. It may consolidate before its next move. Typically speaking, after we hit about 3 targets on the board, it typically will consolidate before it goes for the next 3. That's the way that I look at it. And these are just really ATR values at the one times, right? So just taking a look at that. Yields popping up again. All right, so let's bypass Eli Lilly. And then I saw somebody wanting to look at SOBR. I'm not familiar with this stock, but boy, it was consolidating for a really long time. And you know what they say about consolidation, right? One of 2 things are going to happen. It's either going to break out or break down. And wow, look at this breakout. So this is a dollar stock. I typically do not trade dollar stocks. I doubt there's there's no option contracts to this. So strictly some shares, but really looking for on an hourly chart for the stock to hit $1.10. If it does, the likelihood of hitting a 118 is really good. So, but just remember your stop loss is at 103. So you're right in between these 2 levels right here. And that's how I would do this. As a matter of fact, you can automate that as well, right? Whenever you want to automate stock shares, all you got to do is just right click on the actual share price and then say buy custom, and you can do it with an OCO bracket, right? In fact, how would we do that? Let's just do it right now. So the way we would do this is let's just put some shares on the board here. Let me just type that in. Let's do 50 shares. And we'll do 50 shares here for the take profit and 50 for the stop loss. Make sure we're all in line. And then what we're going to do is say, hey, look, when it gets to that 110 level, right? 110, then we're in it. And then we have about 3, and you can see, look at the last time we hit this vertical trend line over here. So I would say when we hit like 133, that's going to be your take profit for those 3. So I'm going to put in here I'm going to put 130. I'm going to get out just before. That's going to be my take profit. And then my stop loss. What are we going to do for the stop loss? We could actually program it in there for 103. So why don't we do that? Instead of $1, let's see. Can I do this? We're going to do $1. How about we just put it at $1 here? There we go. So what I'm doing is, right, instead of my stop loss being right at that line at 103, I'm just padding it just by a couple cents underneath, right? And I'm doing the same thing on the upside. Instead of my taking my profit where everyone knows that 133 is that limit, I'm going to take it just a couple cents beforehand. I want to be the first one out as it's rising to hit that 133, and the same down below. And the reason is because, these institutions know where these levels are at. And because of that, they can see the orders. So instead of knowing, because, the platform gives you a lot of information. So instead of saying, oh, right at 103, I'm going to get out, we're just doing it a couple cents below. So now we have our stop, and we're going to just put a good till cancel on these guys right here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do good till cancel here as well, because we have a price programmed in and we're not there yet. So now when we take a look at our order, buy me 50 shares at 110, sell it when I get to 130. And then also if we hit our stop loss at $1, go ahead and sell it. So now you could see, ooh, I just got entered in, and you can see we are in, prematurely here. I should have said a buy stop on for stocks, and my bad, but that's okay. We have our stop loss in place. We have our take profit in place. So now we'll see where SOBR goes, and that is done. Let's take a look at, let's see, we took a look at Tesla. How about if we take a look at QQQ and see where we're going? All right. QQQ on a daily, really looking nice. Just broke its last high here, and momentum pointing up. Let me take a look at that again, guys. I want to show you this. Look at how momentum, we were here, and then we had a divergence where momentum was heading down, but the price was heading up. Now, typically speaking, that's a warning sign, right? That's a warning saying, hey, the problem with divergence is it's not my favorite indicator to identify like what to do, because there's no time frame to it. It's like you don't know when that's gonna work itself out. And in this situation, you can see that as momentum was going lower, price was going higher. Then we kind of did some stabilization right here at this resistance level. It was resistance, we broke above it, and we stayed above it, which is now support. So that 653.92, really a good level here for support, and we keep heading higher. But look at what momentum is doing. It's breaking higher. So now price is aligned with momentum. And so when you have price aligned with momentum like this and it's pointing up, oh boy, I mean, QQQ already doing really well, but be careful. It's Friday. Who knows what's going to happen next week? I always say, only because of the war. But this is actually, on a technical standpoint, this is looking really, really bullish. Okay. So the Q is looking really nice. Be careful here on a 4-hour, which I like the 4-hour for short-term swings. We're getting right to momentum last time near the 200. This could be an exhaustion point, right? So you want to be cognizant of that. You want to be careful about the type of vehicle that you're going to take. Again, debit spreads always do well. Have some consolidation here on IWM. Look at the consolidation range that we're in. Really needs to break above that 278.66 level to get to the 287.10. How would we go about doing that if we wanted to take a debit spread? I can see the momentum kind of curving right at that 100 line. I'd rather see it pumping. So this looks like we may have more consolidation in range for this, but you can definitely pad this and say, if it gets to 279, I'm in a long position. Why don't we just do that? Because there has been a lot of consolidation. It may be ready to go here. So let's take this out for a week. Let's do it for the 8th. I'm going to take it for a vertical spread. I'm going to take a couple of these and I'm going to go right over here to the gear icon. And what that allows me to do is actually program what I want it to do. So we said, hey, look, we're going to just pad it a little bit, right? Because it's in that consolidation range. It's getting really close to a buy sign, but it's really like a lot of consolidation. So because of that, we're just going to pad it just a little bit and say 279, right? It's only 40 cents. We can have that much patience. So we're going to say, you're just going to start clicking these boxes underneath here, which default on the proper setting. Now on trigger, we're going to say greater or equal to. Now, the first one is less than, the second one is greater, and you can actually look right down here where it says greater or equal to as your backup to make sure that you're doing that properly. And then we're going to put 279. So as we tab out of that box on 279, you could see that it has it already programmed in there. Now, because we don't know what's going to happen for wartime volatility, you know, guys, I'm very protective about risk. I don't want to overpay for this. And so because of that, knowing that my mid price right here is about 52 cents, I'm looking right here, 50 to 54. So I'm saying, okay, 52, 53 cents is about my midpoint. I don't want to pay anything over 25% because I recognize that if a war headline drops or oil starts to rise, that could give a volatility spike to my order. And if it happens at the same time that 279 happens, then the market makers will jack up the price of this vertical spread. Even if it was a single, guys, they could jack it up to 100% to 500%. We've already seen it in action. We know this, and you can do your research on it. Knowing this, I want to give myself a ceiling and say, look, I don't want to pay anything more than 25% of what this mid price is, so I'm not gouged. And so how do we do that? We just take that 52 cents, we add 25%, gives us 65%. Now, when 279 hits, if price is below 65 cents, they will give me the best price, okay? This doesn't say, hey, I want to buy it for 65. It just says, hey, this is my protective ceiling at 65, okay? It's going to give me whatever the best price is up to that 65 cents. So that's how you protect yourself with wartime volatility. I'm going to put good to cancel right here. And now you can see that we are good to go. Now, remember when Schwab took over for TD Ameritrade, they did some programming. I know this because I've been automating my orders, spreads, as well as like iron condors, the whole 9 yards for a really long time. And I know that they did some programming to this where that morning volatility will oftentimes get you stopped out. It never hits your profit target, but it always stops you out on multi-leg spreads. You want to be cognizant of this. As soon as you figure something out that you can see something changing, you need to simulate and adjust or you're going to lose money. So here, what I'm going to do is keep a mental stop, or I'm going to set an alert on the chart for a 50% stop loss. And if it actually happens in the morning, right at the open, I'm going to recognize that it's because of the volatility, and I'm going to wait till the market just kind of stabilizes to get a better read on the real loss of that position. Then I can say, okay, if it's at 50 or greater at a loss, 50% or greater, I'm going to go ahead and exit that position. The likelihood of that recovering and getting back into a positive is very difficult after that 50% mark on a debit spread. So I'm going to just exit that position and take my loss, right? Headlines. If I see this position get into about 30 to 50% profit, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and exit and take some of that profit off the table. I really like to take profits with the wartime volatility, take those profits a lot quicker than I would normally take them. My normal management for debit spreads is 50%. 50% stop loss, 50% take profit. But with the wartime volatility, I'm taking it at about 25 to 35%, recognizing that a headline, a tweet, anything could really change the charting analysis that we just did together. All right, guys. So now that I have that set, I'm going to go ahead and confirm, take a look at this. You can see there's some warning signs here. These are pretty typical. Oftentimes you'll see these. I'm not really too concerned with it. This is a pretty liquid ETF. You can see 13 million here. So you got buy two verticals. My ceiling is at 65 cents. And I'm going to get into this when we go above 279. I'm going to go ahead and send that through. And now, guys, you got a couple ideas for next week. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.